Hey folks, welcome once again and good evening to you all. Welcome to another Monday Space with me, Kalu Aja. Glad to have you all here. Apologies for the slight delay in starting, just technical issues. So we're on, we're live, and we're ready to go. This week, of course, we're talking the oil economy. We want to talk NNPC, we want to talk Dangote, we want to talk gas, we want to talk subsidy, everything really around that sector. We also had this topic last week. We brought a resource person that is very knowledgeable about that sector. It wasn't available last week, so we started us pushing over for a week. So we get someone that can give us, the nitty-gritty, the breakdown, what's happening. So we don't understand because oil is, of course, the largest contributor to forex in Nigeria. Without oil, there is no economy in Nigeria. So we want to know what's happening. Why do we have a refinery that Dangote has that's not working? What's NNPC's role? What's the gas posture of Nigeria? Just to talk around all that topic. And again, guys, if you want to have a question, DM. We don't really rely on a lot on our guests to speak. So DM me or probably do a comment and I'll just pull you up. Without further ado, let me introduce my guest. Mr. Kelvin is here. Mr. Kelvin, thanks for hanging on there. So if you can unmute, just go ahead and introduce yourself and then we'll just kick it off. We've got guys doing it already. Thank you, sir. How are you doing, sir? I'm doing very well. Thank you again for being here. I do appreciate coming to just talk to us and give us more insight about the oil and gas and all the other aspects that we don't really see about. That's what we want to talk about. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for the privilege. And good evening to everyone.
All right. So let's just sort of have a conversation around this. Like, let's start from NNPC. Let's just start from NNPC. What, in your view, is NNPC an asset or a liability to Nigeria today?
It's a very interesting question you asked, considering that every state-owned oil company around the world actually contributes to the economy. Last year, anytime you talk about Aramco, they keep saying, no, don't talk about Aramco. Saudi Arabia is not settled with Nigeria. Yes, we can understand that because of the fact that the recovery ratio for crude oil in Nigeria is low. There's something called recovery ratio. Recovery ratio is basically how much oil comes from underground to subsurface. In normal countries, it's subsurface. In Nigeria, because it's not a normal country, it's not just subsurface. It's what gets from underground to subsurface and subsurface to terminal. Because in Nigeria, it's one thing for you to get oil from underground to subsurface, another thing to get it from subsurface, which is the wellhead, to the terminal. I remember I told you when I did an interview some months ago with FT in London where he was talking about the fact that effectively around 18 to 20% of whatever has oil and gas does in output on a daily basis is lost between subsurface and terminal. So there's something called recovery ratio basically. Recovery ratio basically talks about your enterprise value divided by your 2P reserves. Your 2P reserves being your probable reserves and your probable reserves. As your 2P reserves, you get your recovery ratio, recovery factor. And it says that for oil, the recovery ratio must always be between 20 and 30% for it to be viable investment. If it's not within 20 and 30%, no one is going to open FID, commission FID to invest. Recovery ratio for gas must always be between 80 and 90%, which is one reason why in the last 18 months you've not seen any company open FID for bringing in money to Nigeria. You've not seen it. There's been speculation, there's been talk, there's been promises. The IOCs are just not putting money into Nigeria because this factor. So this is one reason why the unit production cost per barrel in Nigeria is very high. And this is when you compare countries like Libya, like Iraq, like Saudi Arabia, that have their unit cost production per barrel at anywhere below $12 per barrel. Nigeria has that $48 per barrel because it's crude oil into that, you put 50,000 barrels, you minus it 25,000 on the other side. So this is one reason why you say that, okay, Aramco makes more money than Nigeria. It drills more oil. I think Saudi is doing about 10 million barrels, if I'm not mistaken, on a daily basis. Nigeria is struggling to do 1.5. Yeah. But the recovery ratio has an impact on how much you make per barrel.
Yeah.
The Saudis make more than $50 a barrel. Nigeria, I'm not sure Nigeria makes more than $25 a barrel.
Wow.
Or even up to $25 a barrel. Wow. Because of this issue.
So, to be clear, so when the oil comes to the wellhead, right, then it goes from the wellhead to say the storage tank. This $48, is it because it's been stolen from the wellhead to the terminal, or is just 48 from the below ground to the wellhead? Where is the 48?
There are factors. No, there are factors like recovery ratio is one major factor, because when you don't have proper evacuation to take crude oil, so there's what they call most product pipelines. There is aggregation. Aggregation is from wellhead to fuel stations. Yeah, where you have your central manifold. Then you have from aggregation point your fuel station to your terminals. That's transmission. Yeah, then you have distribution. Distribution, for example, is from your terminal to whatever refinery you have. Okay, that's distribution. Just like the same way you have for your Muslim and Atlasco, the fact that in Nigeria today, the government didn't plan for Dangote refinery to work. So you don't have pipes to evacuate PMS. And effectively what you're having is that you have all things like take through gantries, there are fees associated to that. There's bulk storage fee for throughput for those tank farms that you see around the copper. There is the vessel, cost of transporting PMS vessel from Dangote refinery to Copper or to whatever part in Nigeria and products by sea that you need to move it. So when you don't have pipeline infrastructure, for example, to evacuate, because you don't plan for evacuation, it impacts on your pricing. So if you go back to upstream, yeah, you don't have proper evacuation because most of those pipes are old, they're aging, some are vandalized, some are also subject to vandalization on an ongoing basis. Then you have the costs go up. There's also the factor that the contracting cost is very high because there's a lot of middleman play. So because of local content, local content policy in Nigerian companies, some of them don't have the technical capacity of where we are to do a lot of this PC. So they win these bids and then they go and subcontract it to other people and then they increase the cost.
Okay. You said something when you were speaking. You said Nigeria didn't plan for Dangote to work. The refinery.
Yes, Nigeria didn't plan for the Dangote refinery to work because you can imagine you can't guarantee a firm supply of 400,000, just 400,000, you need 650,000 barrels per day. You can't guarantee a firm supply of 400,000 barrels per day.
I get where you're going. Okay, so I'll just finish with NNPC. So now NNPC as it stands is an oil company. We have 4 refineries. We had news that the old one has started. Where are we on these refineries? Do you think that one has started? What's really the real story behind the refineries that NNPC owns?
So, the 4 refineries, Dangote has 2, 160 and the old one and the new one. I think both of them were completed in 1989 by Shell and British Petroleum. Initially, when those refineries were started in the 60s, they were actually built to produce, especially this old one, to produce LPF, low profile oil that a lot of the operators, the Six Sisters, and mostly Shell, then Shell was the first to the need for their onshore and offshore activities. They were actually not designed to produce high distillates like PMS, propane, refinery gases, and after that. So they were not designed with a catalytic reformer in mind. This is the reason why I tell people, I say, today as we speak, the Dangote refinery does not have the crude distillation capacity. It doesn't have it. If you don't have the CD, you don't have a refinery.
So, I want to, I want to follow you, right? So you are saying that the CDU, that's what converts the crude to PMS? Hello, Kevin. Kevin, I think you're muted if you're still there. Kevin, I think you're muted if you can. I can hear you now. Yes, I can. Yes. Okay, I was trying to follow. The CDU is what converts the crude to the by diesel and PPM, is that correct?
The CDU is the part of the refinery that actually does the distillation and converts naphtha, which is the basic compound for producing PMS, the main chemical component, into higher distillates.
Okay.
You cannot operate a commercial refinery without the crude distillation units.
Okay.
So, if, for example, the old terminal was designed to produce an LPF after the HHK, and we don't have a CDA crude distillation unit that can convert your naphtha into these distillates like premium motor storage. How do you claim you have a refinery? What you basically have is you import the main chemical component that is used to produce PMS, and then you cure it with C5 residues, which is exactly what you do in water. Blending, and it's called blending. And Peterson spoke, I don't know, they did a lot of speaking and then cracking, and they said that the Port Harcourt refinery is not able to directly produce gasoline because the point is that old Area 5 plant that does 60,000 barrels per day was actually not designed by Shell to directly produce gasoline. Now, if you're going to convert that Area 5 into a full-scale commercial refinery that can directly produce gasoline, you have to build in a catalytic reforming unit, CRU, and it was not that.
So in Berry, the one in Port Harcourt, it's not refining Nigerian crude or any crude. They're importing this, then blending it to then produce PMS.
Let me tell you, the trunk line that takes crude oil from Monrovia Terminal to AUB is not a service. And I've asked them, I said, where is the trunk line taking crude oil from Monrovia Terminal to AUB? If it's not a service, how are you transporting the crude oil to the refinery? How? How are you transporting it? Are you taking it by batches of 5,000 barrel batches? How can you move crude? At least for Dangote, you see that he has a single point more than SPM that as the helicopter has gone there to see it from an area of view. There's been a lot of views and interest. People have seen how sheep discharge crude oil from the SPM into the storage tanks. So you can't say that Dangote has an SPM single point more for which he was planning to build an undersea cable to pipe down to Nigeria Delta to transport crude oil, but that project has been put on hold for a bit. But there's an SPM for Port Harcourt. Where is the functioning trunk line that takes crude oil from Monrovia Terminal to AUB? That's the question you should ask. How are you moving crude oil? So if you're not moving crude oil, what feedstock are you refining?
Interesting. Okay. But let me tell you devil's advocate. But if they're producing PMS, does it matter how they are producing PMS? If they're able to blend and give us PMS at a cheaper price, does it matter how that PMS is coming out?
It matters how you're producing PMS. And the reason it matters how you're producing PMS is because if a contract award letter was done in 2021, President Buhari gave contracts, like there was a contract award for the rehabilitation of Port Harcourt refinery. And that was on the first. Total contract award for Port Harcourt was $1.55 billion. When that contract was awarded, they didn't have the cash. So what they basically did was they said, okay, Mr. President, we can source the cash. All we need to do is just give us the contract award. We know how to structure it. And it's interesting because if you look at the balance sheet of NNPC, you see that from 2019, when their current GCU took over office until now, NNPC has finance this project, you see that they borrowed $1 billion, $1.05 billion from Afrexim through crude oil swap. So basically, they say, okay, you know what? You have contract award letter from presidency, you don't have the cash, you're the state oil enterprise, you're able to, use the state assets because NNPC owns 60% offshore, and then, it owns 45% in the farm, and then it owns more than 60% onshore, the fields you're operating determines the percentage on a cumulative basis. If you do that calculation, it was about 51.3% of the assets on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria, the FGN. Okay, so basically you can use what you get from your JVs or PSCs or use your direct production from any year, you tie it well. Basically, so okay, so for example, this well is able to do, this asset is able to do 20,000 barrels per day. After the moratorium period, after which we're expected to start paying interest on the loan borrowed, we'll start sending 20,000 or 30,000 barrels per day. So what happens basically is that your creditor appoints a collector, an international trader, and say this particular firm A, that's an international trader that has a UK license, it is obligated to collect the oil for us, sell it, convert the cash, pay to us. At an interest, the interest is actually structured according to secured overnight financing rate, SOFR. Then they had a country risk premium. SOFR is the modern day London Interbank Offer Rate LIBOR.
Yeah.
And the structuring of that depends on the tenure of the loan and the risk involved and the borrowing entity involved and the risk premium and all of that. Yeah. So that was what they did. They structured it under what they call Project Eagle. Yeah. June 2020. If I'm not mistaken, June 2020, that was what they structured. It's either June 20 or June 2021, if I'm not mistaken. The question we should now ask, Carlo, is if you borrowed $1 billion to finance the turnaround maintenance of Port Harcourt refinery, did you get value for money by sending this, converting that refinery, that 60,000 barrels per day, into a blending plant? The indirect procurement and construction costs. Yes. Can you say, if you do an audit, can you say that you got value for money? Can you say that what you spent converting that place into a blending plant is equal to $1 billion or $1.5 billion? If it's not, has experienced the issue that I think we should change.
Understood. So in essence, we paid for something, it hasn't been done, but we're blending. So that's the question really, that all this money.
Carlo is like paying for a private jet to fly you from Lagos to London, and then the end of the degrading to an economic class ticket on Ethiopia. How would you feel?
I hear you. So since you brought it up, so there's 12 billion in borrowings. In essence, what you're saying, what is the fact is that the NNPC has pre-sold and collected revenues of 12 billion to deliver product in the future. So 12 billion of the income that will flow to NNPC has already been collected today.
Yes, that's what it is. That's reserve-based lending.
Yeah.
They call it financialization of the oil and gas assets.
Securitization. So in essence, if you even go to the foreign reserves of Nigeria, you can actually go in here and say 40 minus 12, because that 40 billion, we're going to pay back that money. We've taken the money, we're going to pay back.
The truth is that, to be fair to them, they've been paying back through Nigeria's crude oil. But the question now we need to ask is, are Nigerians getting value for money? I'll give you another example. Look at Project as a $3.4 billion in exchange for 164 million barrels of crude oil. What was the official selling price? The official selling price was, if I'm not mistaken, anywhere between $65 or $67, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look at the document again. If you have an OSP of maybe $65, just multiply by 164 million. If you punch your calculator, how much does it give you? I think it gives you anywhere around $12 billion. Why would the repayment of a loan of $3.4 billion, that's probably, if you look at the LIBOR, the SOFR rate was 6%. The country risk premium, because for, then compare the 12 billion. Doesn't make sense.
But they
Number two, why would there be an offshore debt services account not under the appropriation of the National Assembly and not subject to the consolidated revenue fund? Offshore.
because in essence, they are borrowing without borrowing. It's not going through DMO, Debt Management Office. It's not we're not issuing a bond. It's essentially there's 12 billion out there that we're on the hook for, and eventually NNPC pays back. So the implication is that that money does not flow to FARC. So the federation pays back. So it's a tax of 12 billion in essence without legislation.
If the tax of $12 billion without legislation, you should also look at all the carrier agreement structure for vendor financing to bring in PMSs in Nigeria. It's the same way, the same structure I explained for financing the Port Harcourt refinery turnaround maintenance. It's the same structure they had for vendor financing program. Why would you want to bring 2 billion liters of PMSs in Nigeria every 30 days? And you're doing a vendor financing program where you're exchanging Nigeria's crude oil in crude oil swap deals, crude reserve-based lending in exchange for the PMS. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, so in essence, if I was to take your answers, NNPC looks like 12 billion here, Eagle, refinery is not working. I would say it's a liability, but at least you're giving us the facts. Let's move over to Dangote. The question I ask about Dangote is this: Dangote invested between 12 to 15 billion in Nigeria. When he was doing his final investment decision, where did he expect to get the crude oil from? Did he tie that up? Because it's amazing to me that a guy like Dangote, businessman, would invest $15 billion without having access to crude. Did he believe that the NNPC would give him the crude this year, or he didn't have an agreement? Could you help us out with this?
First of all, you have to understand that when you're dealing with the sovereign, that comes to you and says, okay, you know what, we're going to buy 20% equity approved by FEC in the refinery, and to have a presence, and then from that we're going to front load you cash of 7.2% equivalent, then $1 billion, and the remaining 12.8% we're going to give feedstock. And look, we're good for it. We're good for it because we're state-owned enterprise. This was a fair decision. So it was a decision from the presidency down as an instruction to us to front load you $1 billion structured through this crude oil swap, and then the remaining 12.8%, we're going to give him feedstock 300,000 barrels per day until we're able to pay off $1.7 billion in equity contribution. You tend to want to believe it. You tend to want to believe it. This was the plan. Okay. And in a structure that was not fair to Dangote, the share purchase agreement had terms and conditions. The terms and conditions were violated by the state-owned enterprise. Yeah. Because within a period of time, they were supposed to start supplying crude 300,000 barrels per day. They did. The board signed, these are the terms and conditions. This is the share purchase agreement. You have a right to first refusal to decline. But if within this period, in fact, they gave NNPC an extension of anywhere between 10 to 12 months after the clause in that SPA was violated. Because in such this thing, when you are doing valuation, there's a time value of money. If within a period of time you don't exercise the rights, the valuation of your equity stake has changed. Because it's a going concern. You get my point? So it went from we're going to start, we started, where is the crude? You don't have the crude to give us, so we have to import. The valuation of the company has changed because it's gone from we're going to start to we started producing. So the valuation is no longer the same. So when people say, Dangote didn't plan for feedstock, I wonder how do you want him to plan to build a pipeline from Senegal that's currently doing 100,000 barrels per day to Nigeria?
So in essence, Dangote, the business case was when Nigeria will get Nigerian crude because Nigeria.
Let me tell you what the attraction was for Nigerian crude. Let me tell you what the attraction was and currently is for Nigerian crude. It's not because he can import. He's currently importing. He's importing. He's just made over 40 million barrels of crude oil from the US. He's talking to the Angolans about crude oil, and a few other markets. See, Nigeria's crude is a light crude with API degree. API is American Petroleum Institute. They measure the weight of the crude. It's a light crude with density above 30 degrees. Okay, so you tend to get more transportation fuels than non-transportation fuels. Typically, anywhere between 75 and 80% white fuels. Your PMS, your AGU, your Jet A1, than you get non-transportation fuels like your bitumen binders, like your base oil, like your petroleum coke, or tar, and the rest of them, petrochemical feedstock, and the rest of them. Okay? The Nigerian crude actually has low sulfur content. As the sulfur content in Nigerian crude is, there are 34 blends of crude oil in Nigeria, 34 blends. Bonny Light is just one of them. There are 34 of them across different fields, production fields in Nigeria. But the sulfur content is actually 0.15 compared to about 0.5, 0.6 for crude in other parts of the world. Okay, that's the attraction of the Nigerian crude. That's the comparative advantage that someone who invested in a commercial refinery of that size, that is currently the seventh largest refinery in the world, has for wanting to buy Nigerian crude. Not because they can buy crude from any other part of the world, but that's the attraction.
Okay. So, the question boggles the mind because that's why we asked the question that, he's in Nigeria. Nigeria has the best Brent crude, is the best crude oil in the world. Also, like you said, Nigeria has no functional refineries. Then we have a $15 billion refinery dropped on our lap. So what's the problem? Why did the NNPC, and I'm not even the NNPC, I'm talking, let's just say the corporate, why did they release that statement? Not NNPC, but why was that statement released that Dangote is more regulated and that his products are going to be inferior? What was going on? Do you have it behind the scenes? What was going on? Is there a fight between Dangote and some people? What's actually going on with Dangote and all that?
Carlo, I'll tell you what, so when the refinery started, it was the first time it was starting a commerce operation. So the first few days when the refinery started, the sulfur level was actually anywhere between 500 and 600 ppm. But within days, the sulfur level kept dropping. It kept dropping 200, it kept dropping 200, it dropped to 70, it dropped. And within 2 weeks, the sulfur level dropped to 10 ppm. It's normal for new refineries that are just starting out. It's a normal practice. That sulfur level dropped within 2 weeks to 10 ppm. And the so-called Dubai that they claim they're exporting to, which is a complete lie, because Dubai currently has the fourth largest refinery in the world. Roy's refinery is 817,000 barrels per day, can go up to 60 million liters of PMs for a population of 9.5 million people. Dubai really does not need Nigeria's petroleum products. Okay? This allowable limit for sulfur in the UAE is 10 ppm, 10 parts per million. 10 parts per million typically talks about sulfur for premium unleaded petrol in developed markets. Okay? The regulator NNPC that is supposed to give final approval certificates to the refiner came and said that he was producing products that had high sulfur level and that is not being certified by the regulator. It was disappointed because the regulator knows the process for which refinery starts and come into operation and stabilize. And at the time that statement was made, the sulfur level for the Dangote PMS had dropped below 70 ppm. But then let me tell you what the reverse case was. I think within 3 or 4 days after that statement was made, the sulfur level dropped to 10 parts per million. Let me tell you what the reverse case was. Samples of products were collected from stations in different parts of Nigeria, and they were sent to a lab, a standard lab, and they were gone through what they call American Society for Testing and Material Standard. Is the most respected gasoline testing method globally. Any regulator that has worked their onions know that the standard and most efficient and most respected method for testing for sulfur or for distillation or for octane rating is the ESTM test. And it showed that the sulfur level in petrol that is sold around Nigeria, not coming from Dangote, actually is higher than 1,500 parts per million.
That's the one we buy normally.
The one we buy normally, the one Nigerians have been consuming unknowingly. Let me give you context. In 2020, February 2020, the Economic Committee of West African states came together and they decided that they were going to create a framework for gasoline testing standards like you have in other markets around the world. European Union has a standard, the US has a standard, the APS standard, American Petroleum Institute standard. They also have the Environmental Protection Agency standard, EPA in the US. Okay. They said that they were going to cap sulfur level for every petrol that comes into the ECOWAS community at 50 parts per million. Anything above 50 parts per million will not be allowed by regulators to enter. After they came to that decision at their convention, February 2020, just before COVID lockdown started, the NNPC came and said that they've taken note of it, but they were going to issue a gazette, regulatory gazette, that will create like a 4-year window within which the allowable limit for sulfur that for petrol allowed to come into Nigeria will be 200 ppm, which is 4 times what the ECOWAS framework by law recommends buying for every ECOWAS member, which Nigeria is a party. 4 times, that's 200 ppm. And that limit is supposed to be permissible until 31st December 2024, which is how many days from now? Maybe 22 days from now, or 23 days from now. So by the end of this year, NNPC is supposed to come back and revise their level limit for sulfur coming or for petrol coming to Nigeria. So Carlo, let's now ask ourselves a question. Okay, so if Dangote within 2 weeks of beginning that refinery was already at 10 parts per million for sulfur on the PMS, is it fair? Considering what the law says in sections 317, 11 of the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021, is it fair to allow PMS into Nigeria that's over 1,000 parts per million?
Which is what the private guys importing and now importing.
Exactly. And Carlo, let me let you understand something. In petroleum pricing, the higher the sulfur level, the lower the octane rating, the cheaper the price. So you had marketers quoting premium landing cost for 10 ppm of less sulfur and over 90% octane rating, for PMS that had very high sulfur, about 1,000 ppm, and very low octane rating. And I'll call you back to 2020, 2022, where petrol was brought into Nigeria that breached what we call the anti-knocking ratio. The octane rating was so low that it was knocking people's car engines. It was because the octane rating was so low. That was why that incident happened. No consequences. Is it fair to say that one person is above the law, or one person is allowed to import some standard drugs into Nigeria? And this is a perfect analogy, perfect equivalence. One company in Nigeria has a manufacturing facility that complies with what they call good manufacturing practices, GMP, in the health sector. standard. And that should change the company that is manufacturing based on what the organization standard. Is it fair practice?
Question for you.
That's the ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's analogy is well taken. Question for you. The private guys importing PMS, where are they getting the dollars from?
So, you have, I'll tell you that, when there was the floating, managed float of Naira in 2023, for like 36 days, you had a window within which there was like a closure of the black market premium between official and parallel market. Remember, then everybody was hackers on daily basis. It was floating anywhere between 750 and 800 Naira before it went haywire to a dollar. A few companies, were able to get loans, structured, secure dollars, imports, some cargoes. But after about 3 months, NNPC practically took over the entire thing. The operation they stopped because they couldn't access dollars. I guess what sections the PI says about NNPC trading and retail only controlling 30% of the market.
About 30 or 40?
30, okay. 30. Yeah. So they basically took in charge of the operations there. So there is a situation where they applied what they call swaps, vendor financing program. Like I said, they go to the traders and say, okay, you know what? We don't have the cash to give you, but we'll structure and modify carry agreements. We need 1 billion liters of PMS. We'll pay you in crude oil. You will give us PMS. But the either it was Lateral Development Bank or the trader will front load the cash required to buy the products abroad and bring it to Nigeria. That was how they were bringing products. That's how they accumulated the $6.8 billion debt that's currently owed.
Okay, so simple question. So NNPC is funding the dollars that I just want to get from those.
NNPC is funding the dollars through Nigeria's crude oil that should have been sold, paid, and remitted to the federal account.
So in effect, so just to be clear, Kevin, just for listening, so just to be clear, Nigeria is taking the dollars that should have flowed to FARC and giving it to private entities to import PMS that Dangote is already and can already refine in Nigeria to save us dollars. Is that a correct statement?
Perfect. But that crude oil that also should have gone to Dangote to use that feedstock to refine is taking it to give the traders.
So it gets worse. So let me rephrase in case somebody scores. Let me rephrase the question. So NNPC should have given crude oil to Dangote. But NNPC takes the crude oil and swaps it and gets PMS through the private guys into Nigeria.
Yes.
And that crude oil is dollars that should have gone to the NNPC, to FARC, to make the Naira stronger. But in effect, NNPC is making Naira weaker by swapping that crude oil and importing the same PMS that it should have given to Dangote locally. I don't even know. What is going on? My head is blowing.
So, Nigeria has 6 external asset managers. You have UBS. Actually, I don't know if you have UBS accredited, but you have one of the two Swiss giants. UBS Swiss. As you have JP Morgan, you have Goldman Sachs, you have BNP Paribas in France, you have Standard Chartered in the UK, then maybe Deutsche Bank. I don't know who the 6th person is. So, but JP Morgan is the highest of the pack. Basically, what you have is that whatever crude oil is sold is remitted to Nigeria's offshore account with its external asset managers to JP Morgan. Okay, so that's what you use for the balance of payments. So that crude oil that should have been sold and paid into Nigeria's account to JP Morgan and all the other external asset managers, basically, it's used for vendor financing program and all kinds of other swap agreements.
Let me take it. Let me take it.
That's the external assets. That's external reserves that the central bank is supposed those to use for balance of payments.
True. Can we bring us to the question? My inbox last week has been filled up. I don't know how to block it. The only question people are asking me, should I hold dollars? Should I sell dollars? Because the Naira is gaining. I've always told people you are asking the wrong question. The question you want to ask is Nigeria exporting crude oil and is the dollars flowing to Nigeria? If the answer is yes and yes, the Naira will get stronger. You don't ask if the dollar or Naira will get stronger. Simply ask, is Nigeria exporting crude oil and is the dollars flowing back to Nigeria? When I see, following what you just said now, I don't see the Naira having a substantial gain in the next quarter. I don't see this gain that is happening as real. Because if we're not pumping crude oil to the maximum effect to get dollars in, what happens to the Naira?
Well, Carl, to be honest, I don't want to predict or say this is where I think the exchange rate is going to go. But when you look at Nigeria's external reserves, Central Bank says that it's $40 billion, $40.8 billion. I would say obey Section 51 and 3 of the Central CDA Act of 2007, which says at the end of the financial year, when you do your books and your auditor sign off and they send you the management letter, you publish it in the National Assembly. First, the committees, and then the broader National Assembly, according to Section 51, and then you gazette it to the public. It's the law. Okay, they did it last year, and then they don't do it this year. They say, oh, you know what, we don't have to show it. At least unofficial conversations I've had. We don't have to show our position because if we show our position, speculators will sell off. And I'm like, transparency fosters strength. Because the whole effort you've seen, the Bloomberg mark system, the whole movement you've seen on the exchange is because of transparency in counterparty dealing with each other on a daily basis. That's the reason why you're saying the manual appreciation you're seeing in the markets. If you show your external reserves, and this is let me tell you, Carol. They had the IMF World Bank meetings in New York, and I was watching a video where the Deputy Governor of Economic Policy that he was being asked a question about what's the position of Nigeria's net external reserves. And the reason why that question is important to investors is because they always want to know where your unencumbered reserves, which is your net external reserves, are, to understand how easy it is for them to get capital and leave their remittances to move money out of Nigeria. If they decide to. That's the reason why they want to know. If you don't tell them, then they're not bringing their money. Because they're like, no matter how attractive the market is in Nigeria in the short term, for example, NNPC stock limits are over 30%. Good. The question they're always asking themselves, Carlo, is the internal rate of return, right? Is it higher or lower than the ability for us to get our FX out and the risk of getting FX and the price at which you get FX? So if, for example, we make 30 or 40% of our money, is it also 60% to get the money out? Is it going to be a situation where when we come to the central bank and say, oh, we're ready to move money, we need liquidity to get FX to move money out, but then you must, oh, there's no dollar, we have to go to the black market, and we go to the black market, what the cost of buying dollars to move out of the black market will be higher than what we made in the country. And this is for FPIs, this is not for patient long-term capital. The question is important, but for FPIs who want to bring dollars in, their IRR, is it going to be higher than the premium for getting dollars and moving money out of Nigeria? This is the question they are always asking themselves. So if you cannot show them the true position of your external reserves, then what are you doing?
So, because the point again is this, right? Like you said, external reserves is the confidence. So if you look at the external reserves, it gives you more or less the result of an exam that has been written. You do your export, you do your import, you have your net exports, you have your claims, you have your borrowings, you have your investments, all that, the shakedown should up in your foreign reserves. But if, like you said, we have 40 or 40 something billion in our reserves, we have 12 billion in swaps on credit, we have all these other attached attachment to that foreign reserves. They want to ask themselves, should we even look at the foreign reserves without having a mark-to-market figure? Is that reserve even realistic? And if it is not, then the answer goes back to people asking, is Naira going to get strong? Is Naira going to get strong? That's your answer right there. If we can't really audit that 44 billion and say, yes, this is from the export of crude oil, not borrowings, but from the export of crude oil, then we're building a house on the beach with no foundation. The house will be built. Remember what the Bible said, the house was built, then the waves came. It didn't say the house was not built, the house was built. Then the waves came and washed it away. But let's go into gas. We've talked NNPC, we've talked Dangote. I want to also come back and talk around, maybe we should finish with this and say, in terms of the pricing, Dangote refinery, the private sector pricing, which, if I understand what you are saying, this is like the NNPC trying to have competition with Dangote. Where do you see oil prices going down the chute for us, say 24 months? Is Dangote able to get his crude oil reserve into the refinery to then make PMS a cheaper price? Will PMS price fall? If Dangote has to import all his crude oil, is that going to cause the price of PMS in Nigeria to fall? What's your take on how the market will shake out between Dangote and the private guys?
So, I was reading the outlook for JP Morgan for 2025, and something stood out for emerging markets. What stood out is that they're expecting the secured financial rates in the US to go down. It's currently between 2.9 and 3.2%. They're also expecting that if the policy direction of 4%, who's going to take over from Janet Yellen as U.S. Treasury Secretary, the Treasury plan, which he basically wants to add another 30 million barrels of crude oil to America's current 13.3 million. So we're now looking at 16.3 million barrels a day. If you have that supply, OPEC will be forced to cut, and there'll be a glut in the market. Crude oil prices will go down. Okay? To affect Nigeria's budget benchmark, I think they said that for $75 per barrel, which is not feasible. What will be the position of the budget? Is it better for Dangote? Yes, it's better for lower crude oil prices are better for him. I think crude oil prices are also going to impact on the class system of gasoline pricing, because class system gasoline pricing works mostly based on price of crude oil, location of crude oil, the blend of the crude oil feedstock, whether it's middle with density, lower density, or high density, and several other factors. That's what helps you to measure Platts on a daily real-time basis to see if it's going up or coming down. And the price of Platts will determine what the refiner sells to off-takers in US dollars and how it impacts on the petrol prices at pump your retail price. So I think is America going ahead with that position, and possibly this whole Russia-Ukraine escalation, they get a resolution meeting they had in Paris is maybe an indication that there might be a diplomatic solution to the impact between Russia and Ukraine. Russia might be admitted back into the international community, most likely SWIFT. So they're not excluded. Their banks have open LCs for companies to export, crude oil, Gazprom, Lukoil, and the likes of them. So if Russia comes back to the market, Russia at least is 10 million barrels per day, and they're not selling through black markets in India and Ocean through transshipment. There's going to be a lot of price to come down. But the question is, are we going to be able to profit from that by saying you're going to have exchange rate stability that you need to ensure that if crude prices are coming down and prices is coming down, the exchange rate doesn't go in your party? That's the question to ask. Because the price of PMS is dependent on two major factors. Crude oil price, which has a major influence on plus pricing, and then your exchange rate. On the other also encouraging, and the reason why the answer is also encouraging is because Cardoso is going to structure $2.2 billion in the Eurobonds market to finance deficits in 2024, not 2025, 2024. Okay, so if you're financing deficits in 2024 and not in 2025, your budgeted payments for next year is 47.9 trillion. Your debt service is 9% of 47.9 trillion. Okay, and your deficits in 2024 budget is at least 50%. What's going to happen to your external reserves and your exchange rate?
It's going to go up. The reserves will go down, and your exchange rate will, the dollar will get stronger. So tie this now to Dangote. If oil prices fall globally, which means Dangote can import crude oil cheaper, but exchange rate is more expensive. Does that impact positively in retail price on Nigerian PMS locally? Is he able to bring that crude oil in, refine, and sell lower than what we have now?
I didn't get that question. Can you say that again?
So, I'm looking at a scenario where Dangote just basically can get cheaper crude oil elsewhere and is able to refine in this refinery and then sell locally, because this continues. You have the NNPC guys importing, you have Dangote importing. Dangote is going to be a cheaper player because it has a newer refinery. So I'm saying, will this reflect retail side on Nigerian pump prices? Will we see PMS prices fall if international crude oil prices fall? Will we see that coming down in Nigeria?
I don't think so. Because if crude oil prices are coming down, the Platts system, let's say the price of gasoline only at 10 ppm is currently moving at around $690, $700 per metric ton, divided by 1,341 liters. And then because of drop in crude oil price, it drops to $600 per metric ton, or for 570, for example. The other question we need to ask when we're looking at a calculation to arrive at the recommended retail price is, what is the exchange rate? Is the exchange rate 1,850 or is it 1,450? That's the other question we need to ask. And that question is determined by all these forces, and mostly the external reserves. Because if the CBN doesn't have, the FM system is good, B matching is good, it helps you for the banks, the CBN to enforce net open position NOP for 0% long and 20% short. Remember, I recall the memo they sent out in February or March. I think it was in February of 2024 this year, when they put out guidelines for net open position, and they said like 6 banks held $5 billion onshore.
And they wanted them to sell it down and all that to reduce the pressure. Yeah.
What this FM does is that it helps the CBN to ensure that the banks comply with that circular, or 0% long for NOP and 20% short for NOP. That's what it does. But then the question becomes, is there liquidity in the markets?
No, but okay, let's look at Dangote singularly. Dangote is exporting urea, is exporting other byproducts. Dangote can create his own liquidity from his ecosystem alone without going to CBN, to NNPC. I'm saying that, can Dangote not say he's going to swap urea fertilizer for crude oil from the United States? He goes to Pakistan Basin, gets fracking or fracked oil and all that, and brings it to Nigeria and refines it. Because it's the same cost to get the crude oil, like you said. It's the same cost to transport to Nigeria. But when he gets to Nigeria, he can refine cheaper. But NNPC cannot refine cheaper. So I'm saying long term, is he not able to then win by scale, by the newness of his refinery, to then offer lower prices to Nigerian consumer in his refinery?
You have to understand something. Dangote buys crude oil in US dollar. You can be in a market where there is lack of liquidity in the FX market. You buy crude oil in dollars, then you sell it in naira. You don't have a functional false market. A functional false market where, if, for example, you buy crude oil in dollars, you can set up a futures contract and lock in the price and say, I will sell my PMS to the market in naira. But obligated to supply me dollars that are already locked in because I paid premium. You can't even know how a futures contract works.
Okay, but look at it again. Just to go back again. Why can't he swap raw products? He gets gas in Nigeria, he gets urea. So he already has a product. So gas, urea. He takes urea to the US. He's exporting urea to the US. He gets from the US crude oil. It's not giving them dollars, it's giving them urea, which he's already doing. He gets his crude oil in, so there's no cash transaction. Then he brings it back to Nigeria. He converts that crude oil to naira.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Dangote doesn't have that obligation to the market. And you have to understand that he has debt. He has debt. As a matter of fact, you do realize, Callum, that there is a 60 to 90 day, 45 to 90 day cycle for when you bring in crude oil feedstock, you refine, you sell, your invoices are paid. Right? Within that 45 to 90 days, you need a buffer to be able to get more feedstock to refine and sell, depending on all the invoices are clear. The finance, all the trade finance and invoices count.
Understood. I'm trying to.
The trade finance facility comes at an interest, usually so free.
Gotcha.
Those contrary to premium.
Okay. Gotcha.
Your first obligation as a refiner that is starting out is to build enough cash pile to ensure that your 45 to 90 day cycle does not require you to go to the trade finance market to raise money through invoice discounting to finance that 45 to 90 day lag.
Gotcha.
That's your first obligation.
All right, excellent. I was trying to look for some good news here. I was trying to see, just for folks listeners, there's light at the end of the tunnel. That this refinery in Lagos, ultimately, I've said that's going to be the one savior to Nigeria because as time goes on and Dangote is exporting more and reducing the imports, I think it starts to show the tell on the budget of Nigeria, on the balance sheet of Nigeria, on the income statement of Nigeria, on the cash flow, that it helped the nation out. It gives us a buffer to build on. That's really where I was going to with that. But well understood. Kevin, we've spoken for an hour. And let me get a few guys to ask you a few questions that I want to speak, and then we can go back. I want to talk about gas, the AKK pipeline, the whole issue about the gas pipelines not being so widespread in Nigeria, why we are where we are, and what we can do to take advantage of those gas reserves. Let me start with Ben. Ben, you want to speak. We've got Kevin here. We're having a very, very great conversation about Dangote and NNPC and sources and all that. So Ben, what's your question? Please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Carlo. Good evening, Kelvin. This conversation is very interesting. My question just borders around the PHC refinery area 5. To be specific, I know me and Kevin, we've had one or two conversations on X about this, but Kelvin, what would you say is the current situation in terms of refining, specifically CDU? Because I've been following what you've been saying, what other people have been saying, reporters and all that. And for most reporters and most reports are saying that the CDU is functioning at the limited capacity. And you're saying that the CDU is not functioning at all. So I just wanted you to clarify your position. Because at the time you alluded that the refinery is refining naphtha and then blending that naphtha with high octane stock, C5 ratings into PMS. So I was just confused because how does a refinery not have a CDU and then be able to distill to produce naphtha, which is a distillate of the CDU? So if Kevin could just go deeper into that, the specific operational situations of the PHC refinery area 5.
I don't know if you were around when I spoke about this. I've spoken to it earlier. I don't know if you just joined the space there.
I was here, but I want you to clarify because I have
clarified.
I didn't have to understand.
You have your disagreement is not going to change the facts on the ground. But the PH1 was not built, as I specifically said that when Shell was designing the PH1, they designed the
answer.
So
Let him answer.
you don't expect that the CDU for a modular refinery, and this is the reason why modular refineries cannot refine PMS, because modular refineries, they have a different kind of CDU that is not a commercial CDU, commercial refinery CDU. And the distillation unit for a modular refinery is not the same thing with the crude distillation unit for commercial refinery. So, for example, you can do heavy naphtha, and you can do LPFO, and you have a glorified modular refinery. You cannot convert that naphtha into higher distillates like PMS, and you get refinery gases like propane, and depending on the grade of crude oil, you get propane and butane. Yeah, if you don't have a catalytic unit to do that, it's kind of blend. Exactly. And which is exactly what they are doing, blending. Now, it's important to note, Ben, that you just agree with me now that the CDU is functioning. No, I did not agree with you. I did not agree with you. You have a narrative in your head, clearly, and you're sticking to it, and I don't blame you for it. I did not agree with you. And I would also like for you not to misquote me, because there was nowhere where I said that Port Harcourt refinery has a functional CDU. It doesn't. The main chemical component that is used for blending into what they have that we call the PMS is actually not generated in that facility in Area 5. I stand by it. I have reason to stand by it because I've seen evidence to show that that is the situation. So if you disagree with me, it doesn't change the facts on the ground. We can argue back and forth on this space, but it doesn't change the question. Let me start a follow-up question. You said that what they call PMS is not generated from your file. Would you say what is about the naphtha that is used in blending? Because I agree with you, they are blending to the PMS. But if that internal naphtha is coming from their CDU, then there is in fact some level of refining going on. Because the former MD of NNPC was on Horizons or so, I can't remember, and he made some clarifications doing the line that I'm putting right now, because I have some sources too who are working there who can reinforce this. Their CDU is at an energy complexity of 2.5 to 3. So it is very modular. It can only give you fuel oil and heavy naphtha. Then that heavy naphtha can give you fuel oil and heavy naphtha. Yeah, heavy naphtha.
But then again, most CDUs doesn't give you PMS. You have to push it to further limits.
Okay.
Ben.
I want you to ask a question, let him answer, because I want you to go back and forth with him, he's a guest. So ask the question, let him answer, then let's move on.
It's okay for him to ask. It's okay for him to ask. Nobody has to win an argument here. Nobody has to win. There's nothing to win. There are facts on the ground. Whatever our positions are does not change what the facts on the ground are. The question we should ask here today is Port Harcourt refinery able to directly refine gasoline? The answer is no. Are they importing blend stock? Are they importing blend stock to blend and pure to get what they call PMS? The answer is yes. How do you hear that?
That part is arguable, but I won't argue. Yeah,
okay.
I'm satisfied. Thank you, Kelvin. It was very, very interesting conversation there.
All right.
Really enjoyed it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me get Nonso. Nonso wants to ask a question as well. Nonso, okay. Let's go back to the gas issue. I mean, Nigeria has been said to be a nation of little oil, a gas nation with little oil. Why did we not build out our gas infrastructure the way we even have our non-functional PMS infrastructure? You can actually see the pipes that can pump PMS and the rest from Lagos and Warri all across the nation. Why didn't we ever do that for gas? What was the reason really?
If you check the National Gas Master Plan that UHQ and his team, they really enriched that master plan 2017 when I think it was both the GMD and the National States for Petroleum, and it was also going to implement Section 65 of the PIA on migrating the commercial framework from registered joint ventures and PSCs to incorporated joint venture company model, before he was cut down because some people felt that if he goes ahead with what he was proposing, the loopholes were going to be closed, and then he was removed as GMD of NNPC and kept as Minister of States. You see that he had a plan for all the gas commercialization framework, gas flaring commercialization framework, gas pricing model, world winning producers price pack versus regulated price packs. You have the national reference codes as a cap, domestic gas delivery obligations, sections 1 and 8 of PIA and all that. So you have to understand that gas has not received as much attention as crude has, even despite the fact that crude is still not receiving attention. So you need to understand. NNPC equals the figure, I don't believe them. The current output for gas, I think, is 4.5 billion scoff today. LNG alone today needs 3.5 billion scoff. So which means you have only 1 billion scoff that goes to gas-based industries based on the domestic gas delivery obligations, DGDO, whether it's a cap on price. Operators are saying, number one, upstream. Any associated gas that comes from production sharing contract, those fields, and those are major fields, the ultimate owner or beneficiary is NNPC. Operators are saying that cannot be the case. We have to see like a fiscal framework that tells us what share of that comes to us. So, for example, we're deep offshore, 60% of oil goes to NNPC, then 60% of gas should also go to NNPC, 40% should go to us. Under the PSC, the operators don't have the equivalent. So you have a situation where, upstream, there is not enough output for gas. And even in cases where gas is flared, there isn't an incentive for them to commercialize it and stop flaring, which is the reason why all the punitive legislation that National Assembly suggests will not work. You're only going to scare them away. If you put more punitive damage and say, oh, you must stop flaring, this one, that one, if you don't address the underlying commercial framework that will give an incentive for them to invest, to realize returns, they will not put their money down. There will not be an incentive for them to cap it. So the first issue is, do you have enough gas upstream to satisfy the market? The answer is no. You know why? Because today, as we speak, energy is at 61.5% capacity utilization. They've been in force major since October 2022. They've been in force major now for 26 months. So, if for your willing producers price pass, which is where you have energy, you're not able to supply them enough gas to, help to provide to the 6 trains that you have. When train 7 comes on stream, probably by early 2026, you need another 1 billion scoff a day to satisfy train 7, the demand of train 7. Because their daily requirements will go from 3.5 billion standard cubic feet to 4.5 billion standard cubic feet. Currently, it is getting 2.5 billion standard cubic feet, which means their utilization capacity will drop from 61.5 to drop to 44%. And that will impact on your taxes, your corporate income tax, your withholding tax, your dividends to the federal government for 49% equity, and all of that. Now, energy is one, let's pack it. Let's now come to gas-based industries, the DGDO. Pipes. So you have gas go to manifolds, from manifolds you go, transmission, you have transmission pipes, you have the pipes around southwest, around south. What about the southeast? What about the north central? What about the northwest? The answer is AKK. Where is AKK? AKK is not up to 75% because there is contract variation cost that has not been handled when it was conceived. The exchange rate of where it is today. And we were able to procure all the equipment, all the things they needed to do AKK 640 kilometers. If you were not able to engineering design, that also stalled the project, and till today, the gas in North does not have infrastructure to deliver gas to it. Let's go to the Southeast. The Southeast, I keep saying, and I say it in meetings, private meetings, I say the Southeast is the only part of Nigeria that does not have a high pressure transmission pipe running through it. Even if you could propose a design, for the Southeast, a 121-kilometer pipe running from Aba to Owerri, to Enugu, to Nnewi, then Onitsha. That has not been brought to FID. So if, for example, you don't have infrastructure to transmit gas to pressure metering and reduction station, how are you able to supply your GENCOs? And the generating companies, I think they take around 40 to 50% of the gas domestically. How are you able to supply them with gas they need to generate electricity?
And Kelvin, the AKK pipeline and the gas pipelines in Nigeria, if I could hazard the most important project in Nigeria today, even beyond roads, I will even point to those pipelines. Those pipelines are power. If Nigeria has power supply today, everything unlocks. And then you are saying that the entire Southeast has no name to call it.
Even for the CNG that the government is housing,
that's a pie in the sky. Like we said, CNG it can't replace PMS, can't be a substitute now. Perhaps in 48 months, with consistent. But Kevin, again, the question I asked again, the most important capital project today is to connect Nigeria, even if it's industrial areas of the southwest, the south-south, the southeast, and the north, as Kano to gas, so that we have a factor of cost fall as we have power supply, and that's not been done. Buhari didn't do that for 8 years, and the other guys didn't do it as well. It's not a priority today. We are building the coastal road and all that today. It's not a priority. Why? That they don't know or they don't have it as a priority project.
Nigeria is an interesting country. And when I talk about economics and finance, I usually like taking out the political side. I don't like dabbling into this person said this region does not want this one does not want that. I don't like dabbling into it. But all I would say is Nigeria is an interesting and very complex country where if government decides and say we want to focus on this, on the other side of the country will say, oh, why are you focusing on this side? I'm not focusing on this in our side. Well, maybe because that project is unique to that region and is better suited for that region and is not strategic for the other side. But I'll give you an example. I've always said this. AKK is very foundational and critical for the North because the North does not have access to gas. So you need AKK to walk from Jakarta to Gobalada to Kaduna to Kano, then Kano to Gansu. In fact, I think the PMRS is what you now extend through that and Trans-Sahara gas pipeline. That was the plan. To extend it from Niger Republic to Algeria. It's from that pipe, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. At the same time, in the south, you need pipeline evacuation for PMS, infrastructure, regional distribution depot, regional depots. You need horizontal standard gauge rail lines, Carlo. You need another seaport in Akwa Ibom. Then you need a high pressure transmission pipeline through the southeast. For me, those are my 4 priority areas. Those are my 4 critical areas because you need to decentralize. Okay, so if you don't have pipeline evacuation for PMS and you have a refinery in Lagos, you're incurring another 150 naira per liter moving that PMS around Nigeria.
So you saw the fight last week over taxes, VAT. You don't see any fight over AKK. is the not aware of how important AKK is. I mean, I don't know what to say. Kerry, let's bring in other guys in here. Let's get Cyrus. Cyrus has a question, and I'll just go down the line for you, Kevin, so you can just address it. And Kevin, again, usually we spend an hour. We're usually here for at least 2 or 3. I'm not sure your timing. I don't want to expect that. How long can you stay with us?
Come on here.
Okay, perfect. So Cyrus is here. We'll just go down. Lots of folks have been here and I'll add them. Cyrus, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I just want to add, because you mentioned something about the forecast of the price of goods going down and how that will affect the class system. But you did not touch on how that will in fact affect by the price of PMS. The price of PMS and having like Dangote finally selling to the the pump price of PMS. And just as an addition to that, some marketers, right, I think under the umbrella of Petron, and I think I pronounced that right, Petron, have insisted that they can actually supply PMS or import PMS at a cheaper rate as what Dangote is selling today, and they insisted that that is the case. So I don't know if you can just speak to that. With the price of PMS go down, the price of food goes down. I don't think you mentioned, you really clarify that, and also the part of some marketers insisting that Dangote is selling at the premium price.
Cyrus, thank you for the question. I don't know if you were here when I was speaking to this, but let me say it again. If the Petron members are saying that they can import at lower than Dangote, why have they not imported?
I think it's not the license to buy Niger to import or
it's not the license. If they make a business case to the regulator, they should get a license to bring in products at, if they're claiming they can get it here at this exchange rate, then they should bring it out to. Why is the blending plant in Port Harcourt not able to sell PMS at lower than Dangote?
Questions?
Cyrus.
I mean, you kind of like with economics in the end, Kevin and Cyrus. That's basically what I'm hearing. In the end, economics.
No. I cannot speak for NNPC efficiency, but the issue of the imported petrol, at least for the part of the market, I know there are so many markets like petrol I'm speaking for, that they can sell at a lesser rate, and that they appeal to the efficiency license to import petrol to the country. And also for the issue of the reduction in price of crude, how does that translate into price of PMS?
Cyrus, so I'll tell you what, I was explaining earlier that there are 2 major factors that determines your recommended retail price, and you have number one, your Platts. I was saying that Platts depends on not just the price of crude oil, but the location of crude oil, the density of the crude, and other logistic framework that has been built into the Platts pricing system for gasoline. Number one. Number two, your exchange rate. So if crude oil price comes down, but your exchange rate is not strengthening, how are you going to work out the economics? So if, for example, crude oil drops by $15 and your currency loses 25%, how do you balance it?
Interesting.
So the argument is that it must be both, and that is especially when that's the price.
They must go together.
But even without this, let's go back to before we had the Ukraine-Russian war. Let's put ourselves there. To me, that was the reality in the world's oil and energy prices before we have what we have today. Because today you are taking out Russia, you are taking out maybe Iran. So the market today is without Russia somewhat. If you go back before we had the war, prices were coming down. The West was trying to ban oil and gas. And the idea was that there was just going to be this glut, So if we go back to that time, why can't if Trump wins now, Trump has won, and he's going to do peace with Ukraine and Russia. that peace, I'm sure Russia would insist on them being allowed to sell their crude oil. Whereas Syria has fallen, Iran is a bit isolated. They have no power to make demands. So lots of oil don't come to the market. Will that mean that more supply, less prices? Kenya just exported its first crude or so. So there are more players in the market. So that's my take is that even without saying anything, $75 a barrel, would it last in 24 months, $75 a barrel? Cyrus, go ahead and then we'll just move to the next person. Cyrus.
Yeah, let me just, it's just back up to my question because last time the last outing that Ali Dangote had was he complaining about, marketers not patronizing the finally despite that they have, petrol in store. And there was question about price and all of those things, and it came out with a discount of 20 naira. Currently now, is there any information on that? Like, are there patronage for it, and why is market if, like you say, is even if fair price or if fair pricing of the payments, why are marketers not patronizing it if that's the case? Because that was his complaint the last time he came out to speak, to Nigerian people.
Can I think that
So, I think as the last month, Ipan signed a deal to take 60 million liters of PMS per week. That is currently going on. That sources, that arrangement sources. I think Ipan has started collecting 60 million.
Marketers are still importing, right? Yeah, those are also marketers in license to import from the
Ipan is different from Oman. I think you should clarify that Iman is different from Oman. Iman members, we have about 30,000 filling stations around Nigeria. They control a chunk of the markets. They are different from members of major market association of Nigeria and that one. So you need to clarify the different groups and associations. Okay.
Gotcha. Thanks, Cyrus. Let me get Scholar in here. Scholar. Cyrus, I'm so sorry, but other those who did, you have to equip. Okay, gotcha. Let's get Scholar in.
Yeah, Mr. Cole, evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing? Where are you calling from? You mind me asking?
From Lagos.
Gotcha. Please go ahead.
Okay, well, I don't actually want to say much right now because the discussion is more of you asking questions to the individual speakers and they give answers. Like concerning the gas exploration and the possibilities of expanding our gas production in Nigeria is what I decided that captured my mind and I jumped into. But somebody was asking questions concerning the petrol. So I have a lot in my mind, but I would like to ask what exactly what do you want from me right now?
I don't want anything from you, Scholar. Let's move on to Spartan. Spartan, you've got the floor. Spartan.
No problem.
Spartan, you've got the floor. Spartan, going once. Spartan. Hey guys, if you request to speak, please can I request that you stay near the mic just so we have just close along, right? Neo, you've got the floor. Neo. Neo, what's happening?
Yeah, not from me.
Okay. Neo. Yeah, please go ahead. Spartan, please hold on. Neo, go ahead.
Good evening, Chairman. Please, my phone question is regarding the foreign reserve.
Okay.
I know that the foreign reserve should be at least 3 months of import value, and the CBN and been running figures around. There was a time JP Morgan came around to tell us that this is the actual left position. Today, I just want to ask Kevin, do you have an idea of what what our net reserve is actually, and apart from that, do you know what the per month requirement should be? Because until we get the net reserve right, we can be talking about a stable exchange rate, and then without a stable exchange rate, we can actually plan for getting foreign direct investment is going to be like a job. Even some of us that are Nigerians are thinking twice before bringing money in because you don't know what it's going to be in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months.
So Kevin is asking you if you can do that audit for him, if you have the net figure.
It's actually, I was going to tell you that it's actually not 3 months, it's 12 months.
12 months.
But the figure says that your net external reserves must always be equal to your balance of payment for 12 months, which is 1 year. And if you want to get a picture of where it is, what you have in your net external reserves right now, that is nothing came back, is equal to 6.1 months. 6.1 months of your obligations for imports.
What figure is that, Kevin?
It's not up to $6 billion.
So you've taken away the JP Morgan and the prior audit figures, you've taken that away. We've paid back some, right? We've paid back the obligation, 5.7 billion. So you're saying the current one, everything all in net about 6-7 net.
Can they not pay 5.7 because they are still paying 2.4 billion to the forwards.
Yes, they are still owing forwards. Yes, 2 billion. Yeah.
They've not paid back fully. And the CBN had other incumbent, which is the reason why it's hard. Which is the reason why it's anything. They put the bed, the assumptions, show us the balance sheet according to the law. Transparency breeds trust. Even if things are bad, you come out and tell people that this is what it is. It's not up to par. But is that what we're doing to bring it to par?
Well,
appreciating more than you.
Well, Kevin, if the figure is 6 billion, the naira has no business rising.
Exactly.
So now,
my follow-up question Kevin, is at what position do you think we can start saying, okay, now we'll stabilize? If the net CPI is about 6.1, are you saying if you have up to 12-15 million as net reserve, we should be good to go in the interim?
Mr. Leo, if you have $12 billion in net reserves, your naira will come to fair value of anywhere around maybe 1,000 to 1,150, 1,001.
that's the movie. That's not optimistic.
It has been optimistic. Because you have liquidity to do balance of payments.
That would be all of that things.
You see, the biggest thing that drives the dollar exchange is the expectation pricing. Not the expectation. You see, in Nigeria, let me tell you, so in the past in Nigeria, the only people that held dollars were the folks that wanted to use dollar. I want to import. I want to pay subscription, so I want to get dollars. Right now, there are ordinary Nigerians that take, instead of keeping 100,000 naira, will keep $100 in their bedroom. So they take the cash out of the bank in Nigeria, lose the interest, buy the dollar, and keep at home. Because to them, if they want their 100K back, they can bring the dollar out and get 100,000 naira. So those people are the biggest issue in Nigeria because they are not moved by the pricing. They are saving money in dollars because the perception is that the dollar is going to rise. If the perception that the dollar is going to fall, those people will take their dollar and sell. The CBN have been trying to target those people. That's why you see CBN doing this. After a while, they start to sell dollars to the BDCs. So that the perception will be that the dollar value. So those guys will take their dollar out and sell. Because our dollar is not adding any economic value. At least an importer is keeping the dollar account to pay for import. But these guys are just keeping dollars because to them, dollar is going to run. So that's the problem. If people believe that the naira will strengthen, it will strengthen. If people believe naira will weaken, it will weaken. And you break that belief in people, nothing will change.
Yeah, that is one of the problems, and then it also comes under to the forces of demand and stuff like
Correct.
Just like Kevin said, if we require about 12, 15 million and the available money is 6 billion, if you want to import stuff and you are not getting the required forex to then do it for the demand and supply, we will come in and then so I think there is we still don't know.
Gotcha. Yeah, good. Thank you. Good one there. Let's get Jen. Those who joined here dropped off. I was going to pull him up here. Real quick. Phil, Professor Phil. Please hop inside. Spartan, I apologize. Sorry about that. Professor Phil, let's go after Spartan. Let's have you. Let's get Spartan, and then I do apologize. Yes, Spartan, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much.
Spartan, where you calling in from, please?
From Port Harcourt.
Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, so the last speaker, I wanted to speak to something around. My question was around the situation of the naira and also the situation of petrol prices. But Kevin said something that really resonated with me as regards petrol prices. He said as far as the naira is weak, we still have the petrol prices at cease right now. But then I have a follow-up question. The follow-up question is this. So if we do have supply of PMS, is there no scenario where if we have a oversupply of PMS that will crash prices of PMS? What if we have lots of influx of petrol prices, have Dangote at the other side, have the marketers, we have the refineries working, which leads to supply, and then basic economies oversupply of those prices, right? So would that really bring about a turnaround in the change of the food prices as we have now? And also for the dollar, how effective is government going to bring trust in everyday Nigeria? Because what I would say is what is really prominent in our society today. People don't have trust in the naira, and that is why it's weakening. People are saving crypto here, dollar accounts here. People are saving and keeping even have cash. I have a friend that keeps money in dollars just for the sake of just being in dollars. So how is government going to checkmate that? How is it going to bring that trust back? So those are my questions.
So he's asking for trust. He's also asking that he's saying that if there's oversupply, I'm wondering where the oversupply will come from.
It's a very interesting question you asked because I was going to ask him where to get the dollars to put the product supply back. Because typically what they've done is crude oil swap, they exchange Nigeria's crude, but bring back POS. The quality you can verify. And Dangote refinery that is supposed to stabilize the market and ensure full backward integration. And ensure that you don't use the dollars you're supposed to use for other things, important things to import these products. He's not getting the crude oil feedstock. Dangote has to import crude oil to Nigeria now and refine most of the products that are refined are actually exported out of Nigeria as we speak today. So, all things being equal, all things are not equal.
Yeah. Because you need dollars to oversupply the PMS that will drop the price. So he started this question from B, not from A. If we had dollars, then we can oversupply PMS and the price can drop. But we need the dollars to oversupply. That's the problem that started. The second question is asking about what the government will do to endanger trust. That's why I mean one thing the government will not do. Everything connects. Okay, I don't answer, but everything connects. You know, we have a son picking up somebody in a state and people say, oh, it's a legal issue. It all adds up in my view because it just shows that the country has no rule of law. Where there's no rule of law, the risk premium Kevin is talking about goes up. So the risk premium for Nigeria to borrow keeps on going up because in Nigeria you can be arrested by anybody for an offense by anybody. That's a big risk. So nobody wants to. Yeah.
Let me tell you something I've not said tonight that goes into the factors that are considered and how I use different factors that goes into the calculation of risk recovery factor, recovery ratio for the oil company operators offshore. In Nigeria today, I was having a conversation with an EPC contractor in Texas who has more than 30 years experience in the refining business yesterday. And when I told him, I said, there are no wellhead metering technologies in Nigeria. He was shocked. He said he needed some time to process what I just said and he got off the call. He said, how do you have an oil and gas industry and you don't have wellhead metering technology? So wellhead metering technology basically should give you an accurate estimate of the amount of water, gas, and crude oil that comes out of a well. It's the basis on which you develop a SCADA system for fiscalization upstream. All these crude oil types from the wellhead to the fuel station to terminal, you can immediately detect any drop in temperature or pressure on your pipes, specific pain points, and help the security agencies to go to those points and reduce any theft if you have a SCADA at your proof for fiscalization across the supply chain. And that will start from your wellhead metering technology. So if, for example, the IOCs are like, the operators are like, okay, you know what, for every crude oil we bring to subsurface, we lose 20 or 25%. We have to factor in that cost and that risk. So when we're calculating risk and recovery ratio, which forms what you call your estimated ultimate recovery, EUR, from being hit to subsurface and then to terminals for exports or whatever you want to do, mostly exports. We have to factor that 20 to 25% of whatever we produce will be lost, whether we like it or not. That's risk. So now the question is, if your ratio falls below the industry accepted average of 25%, do we go ahead to commission an FID? The answer is no. We would not. No matter how attractive Nigeria's crude is, we're either go to Senegal or go to Namibia or go to Mozambique or go to Guyana. Guyana is even dying on the block. Guyana, Mobil, and Chevron are going to ramp up to 1 million barrels by 2026 most likely.
So Kevin, what you're saying in essence is that this corruption, inefficiency, this justice inhabitants in Nigeria directly affects FDIs coming to Nigeria.
It's priced in. When they sit down and they discuss the decision of whether to invest in Nigeria or not, all these are factors that goes into consideration.
So if Guyana, for instance, had oil, so let's say Nigeria, the 48 per barrel cost, let's just use that word, there was no issues, no rule of law, no corruption. It might maybe $25, which would make us compete with, say, Guyana. But because they price in all these other things, it makes that 25, just example, rise to the 48, which then makes investing in Nigeria not profitable because they have take it out at 48 and still at 75, blah, blah, blah. So that's really what.
Carlos, 7 years ago when eBay was GMD of NNPC at $25, $28 per barrel, eBay was shouting and screaming that this thing is too high. So you can imagine what he will be doing now wherever he is in Nigeria or in the world. At 35, 36 to $48 per barrel, imagine what he'll be doing. He'll be screaming. And this also goes to the question of what is the role of NAPIMS and NIOMS. NAPIMS and NIOMS, which is a subsidiary. Before PIA it was NAPIMS, now after PIA is NIOMS, which is a subsidiary of NNPC that are responsible for developing the parameters that determine the calculation for EPC for operators. So if, for example, you want to develop a brownfield and they come out and say procurement costs are XYZ, your procurement cost is going to go into your capital expenditure for your joint venture cash cost. Remember, your joint venture cash cost is your capex for development, field development, and when you start production, your OPEX. If you inflate your capex cost and you say, this brownfield is going to cost us $800 million, and you inflate it to $2 billion, and NAPIMS on it approves it without verifying in the market that what these people are quoting as their capex is higher than market standard or average, you cheated the government. You know why? Because the government will have to pay back the cost, the share of that cost for capex. Can I do the first? Let me break it down. Let me break it down. Let's take Total, for example. They say they have a field, they want to develop it. It's going to cost $2 billion. It's deep offshore. NNPC owns 60% deep offshore. NNPC is supposed to contribute $1.2 billion. You go to NNPC says we don't have money. You don't get the government. So go ahead and develop it. When you start developing it, we'll pay you through carry oil. And that carry oil that you take for repayment, it will not be taxable. It's what they call carry tax relief, CTR. Okay? Now, when Total, for example, starts developing, this is an hypothetical, please, let nobody go and say this is what Total did. Okay, let me just use company X so that nobody goes and discloses me. Company X, when company X goes and is quoting capex, so instead of 2 billion, company X say, we're putting capex at $4 billion. It's the job of NIOMS, former NAPIMS, to ensure that the parameters that goes into the calculation of capex is in line with what it actually costs in the market. You know why? Because if they don't ensure that and they sign off on it, when you're paying your joint venture cash cost for the amortization of your capex, which the government is supposed to pay 60% of over the shelf life of that asset, the cost has been inflated twice.
So we're actually, I don't know what's that. Okay. I hear what you're saying, like, I don't want to go there. Let's get a prof. Sparta, I hope you answered your question.
I don't know if you mind having this putting something there. So that means that we are really paying more for the ineffectiveness, complacency of really
Perfectly put. The subsidy that quote unquote that the government says they are paying for you is a tax on inefficiency. You are paying for the tax on the inefficiency of the NNPC, but they call it a subsidy to sell it to you. You are actually the one paying the subsidy, not the NNPC paying the subsidy. It's a tax on inefficiency. All right, let me get Professor Dylan there.
Yeah, thanks. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Please go ahead. Where are you calling from? If you don't mind me asking. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Lagos.
Go ahead, sir. You're calling from.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for bringing this up, Carlo. I really hope that the area economy of Nigeria is dollars already, but unfortunately, we are here. And Kelvin, thanks for this very interesting conversation. I'm just going to start from the overall effects of the efficiency of city government, and it's not far-fetched. Number one is that the public, which is you and I, everybody, also lack a bit of trust in the government, and you can blame them to some of their investments has been adversely affected by state government policy. The question is, why do the power they come up? See, one of the issues I've seen with Nigeria as a whole is the fact that somebody has to be in an office for 4 years and there's a chance that he will not come again as apparently part of the effect of let me just steal or let me just structure deals that can favor me such that when I'm off this place, I'm still able to make money out of the deal. And that would also include, bringing your friend in to take off some of those contracts. And because the regulators also have not carried out adequate due diligence, it's quite easy for you to go to a meeting because somehow they could also get out of this point. So there's a fundamental problem with the whole, and it's just because we are discussing oil and gas, even across all sectors, but there's a fundamental issue around those in terms of how these contracts are done and how these deals are structured. But to narrow it down, the country's premium is just a buffer for any potential investor to say, hey, what's the worst thing that can happen? Should in case, I invest my money and I'm not able to get my money out, I need to charge you guys additional premium for the way the economy is, and you guys have to pay. And I think you've kind of broken it down that, what's the efficiency of the government has been paid by all of us and we would almost want to pay this. But the question is, at what point can there be a structure that, that helps to manage this inefficiency? Again, I'm not speaking from the position of oil and gas alone or PMS. I'm speaking from the position of various sectors of the economy, right? Because if the oil sector is a bit challenged, and let's say there is enough, let's say, foreign direct investments as a result of a very good economy for investors to play, maybe there could be a buffer there. Or let's say if the economy is well diversified.
Prof, I want to line up or ask a question, or I want to just land the ship if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So I'm saying that based on what you see today, if you at least take a step out of this oil and gas sector, what other things do you think that the government can do in order to make sure that this inefficiency, the cost of inefficiency are not passed across to us? How other sector do you think can be developed such that we can all come and discuss it here and look that it gets better to a level where Nigeria, from the stage can continue to increase despite some inefficiency in the oil and gas sector?
I think Nigerians know the answer to that question. I think every Nigerian knows that answer agriculture. Let's even do the low hanging fruit on agriculture. That's just stop at agriculture. The largest agricultural export is cashew nuts. The second largest is cocoa. If you add the export of cocoa and cashew nuts, I'm not sure we do $1 billion. We could be, but we're not doing $2 billion. Right? Just cashew nut, that's our largest exports. So Indonesia makes more from palm oil exports than Nigeria makes from crude oil exports. And we stand at the same time with them. So let's not even go far and say entertainment or IT services and all that. Let's just stop at agriculture and say today China is looking for sorghum, looking for soybeans, they're looking for all that stuff, and we don't manufacture it. We don't even make enough to feed ourselves. So imagine if we just did mechanized farming for just one product, rice or sorghum or cocoa or rubber, just one. Then we've solved indeed a lot of our problems. Granite, Nigeria was leading exporter of granules in the 60s. Today we're not. Palm oil, Nigeria was called the oil delta because of palm oil, not because of crude oil. Today we import palm oil. You can go across the board. Rubber, we import tires today. We import gari. So we know the answer. It's just do the job. And I'm sure if you ask them, you will give the same answer. Everyone in this space knows the answer. It's just doing the job. And we've talked. That's what we do in this space every week. How can we do things better? Do the job. We are talking about a $15 billion refinery in Nigeria that some people don't want to work. So wrap that around your head that there's a $15 billion refinery sitting in Nigeria, brand new, and some people don't want to work because they want to import. I don't know if you were here when Kenny was explaining that we are taking crude oil that we should have sold to bring dollars into Nigeria. We're using that crude oil to import PNS to Nigeria. Then the same countries say that they want to have a strong local currency. So, there's, I don't want to go there, that whole will be here till the next day. But I think everyone knows the issues. Problems can't do the job. That's, I think, the answer can be bro. Yeah,
may I also add
yes,
that
go ahead.
in addition to the crude oil supplemental financing program, usually when you said structural T30 to T90 transactions, there's a clearly defined contract that says if you don't pay within this period, you're subject to demurrage. Demurrage cost is your free plus CRP on a daily basis, depending on how you're able to, at arbitration, mediate with your people you're transacting with. But there is cost, there is interest that accumulates on that money that NNPC is owing. I think it's a T60 transaction, so 60 days transaction, and they defaulted on it. So there is demurrage that's accumulating from that money that is not currently unpaid. I just needed to add that.
That's demurrage to NNPC. Who's paying the demurrage?
NNPC is paying the demurrage.
Wow. I mean, it's a mess. So, can you just, before I go to next, if we just sold the NNPC today, we save money. That if we sold the NNPC this morning, the next day we're saving money. We're not making money, we're saving money. Nigerians are subsidizing NNPC. How is that? I've not seen an oil company being subsidized by its citizens before. I've not seen that before. But Nigerians are subsidizing NNPC. Literally. It's amazing. Let's get Jakada Khalil. I don't know if I got that right.
Yeah, good evening. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you. Please, where are you calling from?
Abuja.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I have a couple of questions and some other comments as well for Mr. Kelvin. So one of the points that was raised was about, I think, whether either man or woman, one of them, someone pointed out that, they made it clear that they can import PMLS at a cheaper rate. And I think somewhere along the line, I think whether either you have or Mr. Kelvin, somebody has made that point that if you are importing PMLS at a cheaper rate, you are simply importing a substandard product. And that is quite clear. It's obvious. There's no debate about that. So I just wanted to also reiterate that point. And also in terms of Dangote getting crude, I think he has plans of just even made some significant strides into venturing into the exploration and production of oil and gas. And I think they're even doing either 15 or 20,000 barrels per day, or they have plans to do that. So I don't know if Kelvin has any info on that, and where that could leave him in terms of finding or sourcing for crude oil. And also I want to also ask on the crude oil exploration in the north. Where are we? Is it a hoax? Where are we in terms of that? Because I believe that could also significantly increase our output. Wow. Right. Then I also want to make a point in terms of the exchange rate. Party-wide, as far as I can see, party-wide the exchange rate is gaining in a way. Can we attribute it to the diaspora coming back for
system are friends somewhere that are also contributing to the current gain that we are seeing. So I don't know if both of you could share that. Thank you so much.
Lots of questions for you.
Yes. At some point you have to remind me the questions as I answer them because I think I asked more questions.
Oil in the north, naira, dollar. Okay, and then you talk about Iman and all that thing.
Okay, so the first one on some people saying that they can import it at lower than what Dangote is trying. It's important for me to say that your tax price, which is basically like your global pricing system, and I mentioned the factors that goes into black pricing, PMS, actually pricing real time, crude oil price is one factor, but there are other factors, There is also a premium refiner adds for the grade of the petrol he refines. It's a standard practice industry-wide, globally, So depending on the premium that is added on your plants, it depends on the grade of products you're refining. So if you're refining only the 10 ppm, the premium will be higher than if you're refining only the 50 ppm. Okay? It's mathematically not possible at this exchange rate to import PMS into Nigeria that is premium PMS on leaded 10 ppm to leaded 50 ppm, for example, at lower than what Dangote is selling to the market. If you do that, it means you're importing some standard products that is not subject to ASTM tests at the port. Because if you check the NNPC registers, it says that whenever a tanker is approaching the port, they are supposed to pay vessel arrival notification fee to the regulator. And after that fee is paid, you notify the regulator that the tanker is approaching. They will take a sample of your product, take it to their lab. That's what their gazette says. This is not what I'm saying. It's what their gazette says. A gazette that they wrote and they sent out to the market, the stakeholders in the market. And that's according to gasoline, globally certified gasoline testing method. The STM is the most recognized. I spoke about it earlier extensively. And ensure that the PMS that is landed in Nigeria, the sulfur level particularly, is no more than 200 ppm, which is the allowable limit until 31st December 2024. The question I have is these people who are claiming that they can import products cheaper than what Dangote is selling. If, for example, they bring in products into Nigeria, can we organize a round-robin table and bring in external auditors to sit down with a globally certified testing company like SGS and say, let's check their product and see if it meets up with what the law says and what the regulator has issued? Are you willing to do that? So far, the answer is no. Because publicly, the government organizes a third-party round-robin table and let's check if this product is check house. So if, for example, I gave an equivalent earlier about how one person is manufacturing drugs according to good manufacturing practice that set out by the World Health Organization, and another person is smuggling counterfeit drugs into Nigeria. Is it fair practice? The answer is no.
Well put, sir. Well put. Yeah, well put.
The second question he asked on the frontier business exploration funds, the fields in the north. The PIA says that 70% of proceeds from crude oil sales, less of deduction is supposed to go to federation account, 20% as management fee, even if I think 20% management fee is very high, and then 10% frontier business exploration fund. The answer is when you look at all the Komani, 89, Bauchi, Gombe, what they did in Nasarawa, if I'm not mistaken, Borno, is there been an audit of the exploration and the seismic they did, the exploration they did to find if they were able to have Nigeria Nigeria's crude oil proven reserves. You have your proven and probable reserves, your 2P reserves. Is there an audit of it? How will money spent? So far, the evidence on the ground shows that nothing came out of it. Money was spent. Probably, yeah, you amount XYZ amount of money to do seismic and exploration activities. What did you get out of it? The money you marked, was it equivalent to what the industry standard is for these activities? These are the questions. This is the reason why I'm saying, listen, sir, you need an external forensic audit of NNPC, and you need to unbundle it to the market. If private sector people are running NNPC, their shareholders, there's a board, there reports to shareholders, you will not have management approving 583 billion as a monument for one financial year for a company that was unable to remit any money to its ultimate shareholder all through 2024. Sir, please, what was your other question?
Yeah, I think you also wanted to ask about the exploration of oil in the north. Is it just to be clear? Is it over? Should they continue? Was it fake? I think when did they get closure on that?
There are parts of the North Central and there are parts of the Savannah Belt leading up to Adamawa that has crude oil stored below salt layers. But now the question is the economics for exploration activities in such areas. Does it check out for, especially when you look at the cost of producing it? It's just like, you had fracking was valued for shale oil. The cost of producing oil in those areas, is it worth it when you look at the unit production cost per barrel? From underground to subsurface, what is going to be the unit production cost per barrel? So for me, I think we should focus first. I understand the sentiment here. The North wants a focus on E&P for crude oil and gas. Rightly so. But let's remember that Nigeria has 37 billion barrels of proven reserves. What are we doing with it, Carlo? We already have proven reserves. What are we doing with proven reserves? How are we using it?
Interesting. Let me go back to Jack. And Jack, I think I had all the Northwest. I had the Ipman. What have we not answered?
Yeah, I think the other part is the Dangote venture into Yankee.
Okay. So on that, I can't speak, for the group. I'm aware that the company is in talks with the Angolan government about getting an oil block and starting EMP activities. I'm also aware that the company is the owner of OML 71 and 72. And there's most likely going to be production on those blocks. I don't have so much detailed information on what the current status is and when you're going to start seeing output from those blocks.
Those two blocks, are they up to? Those two blocks. Do you know the assumption on how much crude oil is in those two blocks?
I don't think you can get more than 40,000 barrels per day.
So that's nothing. Really. Yeah, fine.
I wouldn't say it's nothing. I would say it's anywhere at full capacity. It's going to be anywhere around 7 or 8% of actual installed capacity.
Yeah, okay. 650,000. He needs the phone. He needs 400,000 from NNPC to make that refinery run at 100%. Supply Nigeria, so that presidents have to work with real economies of scale. So that we will see his plans bring down costs from just the operations of that plant locally. And 7-8%, 10-20 doesn't really cost it. It's strong.
I'll tell you this. Considering all I talked about on recovery ratio. And now, in other parts of the world, the recovery ratio is the premium getting crude oil from underground subsurface. And now in Nigeria, it's not just the subsurface, it's the terminal because of the principalities and demons along the way from wellhead to terminal. I'll tell you personally, in my own view, it makes more business sense for Dangote to get an oil block in Angola that is stable. And you don't have activities in the ports.
Wow.
You don't have activities in the ports.
Wow.
All the demons, all the demons between wellhead and terminal.
Wow.
And then that crude oil, 1,400 kilometers across the Eastern Maritime Corridor to Lagos to refine. And it is to invest in offshore in Nigeria.
Wow.
That's you.
I mean, it's the crazy thing about what you were saying is that it's true. That's the crazy thing about what you're saying, that it's a true statement. But let's move on. Let's guys want to speak. Let's get IP and so Declan, thank you so much for your question. Well taken, and I appreciate you asking them. IPNTS. Everyone will speak. IPNTS, please go ahead.
Good evening. Hi, Kevin. Yeah, hold on. I think my question for Kevin is very simple. We need gas. Where are we going to find gas? Yes. There's a projection from, trying to remember the name, S&P, that's basically stating that our domestic gas demand basically would outpace our current production in the next 4 to 9 years, right? And currently our domestic demand based on what Asian and NNPC collected as of 2024 was about 4.3 BCFED. Then university did their formulation based on constraint and everything and brought it down to around 3.2. And to correctly speak, it's only 50% of that is available. That's the only good available to be used, right? And the whole idea is that with the improvements in fiscal policy with the power companies that typically account for about 50 to 60% of gas in Nigeria, the schools are able to, collect more revenue. They can pay the gencos and the gencos can eventually pay the gas schools. The idea is that moving into 2025, 2026, gas demand as constant gas to power would also increase. You're also looking at the Dangote, Notori, Indorama, within your GDI access, looking for more gas. And then you now have this new problem that the federal government has set up where you don't fix the supply, you are going to chase demand and telling people to come buy their vehicles, or telling people to buy safety-driven vehicles. But you have failed to realize that there's a shortfall of around 860 to 900,000 stone a day shortfall in the market currently for auto CNG, right? So you look at all this, and the question is very simple for me. One is, how are we going to get gas in the next 2 to 3? Realistically, that's one. My second question is, because I'm just thinking, my second question is still the cost of production, which you spoke about. $48 per barrel is insane. It's just insane. It makes no economic sense. And based on that same conversation that we're having, the upstream guys are not even going to consider giving you a discount for gas price. And I think that we need gas to drive our economy and all those things. So I'm also saying, what are some of the things that the government can explore in finding a way to reduce this cost of production? That's the second question. And lastly, what are some creative or innovative financial instruments that can be explored or infrastructure development around the downstream midstream gas sector? The reason why the NNPC and federal government have not made anti-standard pipelines because they are over leveraged in NGX and in general, and they don't have any security in the campus in place. So private companies who are looking at considering investing in those sort of ventures, what are some of the creative financial instruments that they can play around to say, okay, there's this problem, how we can solve this problem?
These are questions that usually ask, and then I give you my consultant.
Exactly. Yeah, very, very, very interesting. I mean, he knows where the gas is going. Where we're going to get the gas from. So I feel he's asking what's the structure, I believe, or the financing, or how do we get that thing out and all that. Before you answer, I always thought that if Nigeria just said, if you can come to Nigeria and you can get the gas out of the ground, we'll let you use it for free. I always thought if Nigeria passed such a law and told anybody, if you come to Nigeria and you get the gas out of the ground, use it for free. That would make maybe aluminum companies, glass companies come to Nigeria for the gas. When they bring it out, of course, you take NNPC takes that pipe and plugs it there and says, okay, the gas is out, let's pay for the gas. But go ahead, sir.
Okay. So, first of all, I think it's important to address the issue of commercial framework in PSC basis. If you're going to unlock more gas upstream, I would say that the cake is deep offshore. It's not onshore. It's not in the farm business. It's deep offshore. That's where the cake is, and it's in the PSC fields. Listen, if the operators are telling you that you can't be the ultimate owner of gas, and you're not cutting us in when we have a commercial framework, a fiscal framework, for crude oil. So if deep offshore now 60, we are 40, gas is supposed to be the same. If you're the ultimate owner, we don't have any incentive to sign off your commercial flare commercialization program. We don't have any incentive to build any infrastructure to trap gas. It's also important to know that the gas we're talking about is associated gas. It's not NAC. The gas comes out with crude oil. If there's a drop in crude oil production, there's a drop in gas output. It's also important to realize this. So we have to answer the question of if we can't increase crude oil production, then we need to create incentive for companies to develop non-associated gas fields. The question we should ask today is, are they functioning non-associated gas fields in Nigeria? The answer is no. That are standalone. The answer is no. How do we get them there? And this was the reason Carlo has been saying all through the year that the so-called fiscal incentives that presidency has rolled out is not going to move the needle, because this is not what you need to move the needle. Okay? Since the fiscal incentives were announced, you've not had up to $1 billion in FID commissioned by the operators. And why is that? The next question you have to answer is aggregation. Do you have infrastructure to aggregate? That's the next question. Because you see, the NNPCs, especially the Six Sisters, they're extremely meticulous. They've been in this business for a long time. They understand this thing very well. In fact, I'll tell you, Carlo, there's a company called TGS. It's a Norwegian company that does seismic. They are the global leader for seismic surveys around the world. They have a ship called Ramform that goes around the world. As a matter of fact, I was told that when they went to Mozambique, they did seismic. They told the president of Mozambique that they did no seismic and they don't give me data where to pay them. The president said they don't have money, so they came to a Nigerian billionaire. I'm not going to mention his name. He provided cash to pay for the seismic data. When they got their 2P reserves and companies came in and said they started doing big rounds, he was able to recover his money substantially with interest. Okay. TGS Transform did seismic on the entire offshore in Nigeria for one of the operators. I will mention them. The operator paid $28 million consulting fees to TGS. That data, JV, but the operator gave all the seismic data to the government. Okay, they know where the fields are, the oil and gas fields are offshore, especially offshore. They know what is the incentive for them to invest, considering all the factors I've mentioned. So if you're increasing crude oil production to increase the amount of AG that you get, are you giving them incentive to invest in non-associated gas fields? Number two, what is the infrastructure to aggregate the gas to manifolds? Number three, do you have high pressure transmission pipe to take it from the manifolds to pressure reduction and reduction stations for the GBS? You don't have it.
Okay. So this sort of like just like an argument, right?
currently in the industry that says that basically the PIA speaks to that. And there's also the fact that the heritage, they don't want to overreach or overextend basically that influence. And would rather keep things the way they are, right? So basically, that's some of the arguments are currently happening within the industry as concerns fiscal incentives and all that. I'm just saying these are some when we engage ourselves and we speak, these are some of the counter arguments that come from the other parties and the other persons, right? So I'm just saying that I agree with you. But there are also some dissenting or let's say opposing people who are opposing views as concerns that some of them are even saying, okay, current operators and current this thing, what are they currently doing? How are they performing? Why are they screening incentive? If you've not even met your obligation, because the incentive is not what they need. My brother, the incentive is not what they need. They need a framework, not incentive. The government is matching the software to incentive. And I've argued this in private meetings that I cannot mention. But I've argued this. Incentive is not what they need. They need a framework to work with. They don't have the framework. I give you an example of PSFs, and you know this, my brother. Yeah. NNPC is the ultimate owner. Why is that?
So
I think that's something
so let me speak on behalf of the folks listening. If I hear, I'm not industry press, if I hear both of you saying that there are policies, paperwork, structure that Nigeria has not set up to capitalize and maximize the potential that Nigeria has in the gas sector. That's the summary of what I'm hearing Kevin explain.
Basically, what we are operating at right now is outdated.
So the real question is that the guys in power today, they don't know, or they know and they don't do anything, which is it. That's the real question. Because Kevin alone can't do this. You also can't do this alone. So don't they know?
It comes back in where everybody says the oil and gas sector is like trying to turn a 40 feet
Well, you are broke. You want the money. The 40 foot container guy already has his money, so he can take his time to turn that shit. But you are broke literally today. You are borrowing $2 billion for 2024. So you would think that this is a low. I mean, look at Trump. He's not yet president. Look at what he's doing already. So you would think that someone that wants to be president for how many years now, that knows the oil and gas sector, has all the guys that are well educated around him, would have seen this thing Kevin is saying, and you are also confirmed and said, okay, if this is the issue, why can't we do something about it? He's the Minister of Petroleum and the President. So no one, he's the guy to go to. No executive order out, nothing done to address what Kevin is saying. That's the question I'm asking.
I agree with you because all this is happening. While all this is happening, the government is going to Germany to go and commit gas to them. It's going to India to commit gas to them. And we're all down here sitting down and saying, which gas are you committing to these people? Because we are not saying that.
All right. I mean, I think the question is asked, definitely asked and answered.
I think my last question, last question, which is creative financing ways that people
creative financing. Can we I need to answer that?
So addressing this important deficit. So for example, we just signed for pipeline. Private sector wanted to come and set up, what are some of the things that we can explore, looking at the fact that
I'll be honest with you. I think NNPC needs to the government is the prioritization of pipeline infrastructure, multi-product pipe. I don't think NNPC should own the pipes. I think they should lease it out to private sector players. Without you giving them a lease, right, to run a concession to run for a number of years, and give them like a commercial framework to share a pipeline transportation fee. I think it's about $30 a barrel, if I'm not mistaken, for transmission. Yes,
for transmission.
there is no
finish AKK, for example, okay? For you to get private sector capital into developing infrastructure, the government released a report, or economy report of 2024 said oil and gas contributed 0.4% from 5.3 to 5.7% for 2024 to the growth, to the GDP growth. And I asked the person who released the report, I said, who sent the report, I said, who is part of the government? And I said, what infrastructure are you talking about in terms of gas? And I didn't get an answer, you know. So for you to unlock financing, you need to give concession. So, you know, there's a subsidiary of the NNPC group that is in charge of the pipes. You know, because they enjoy concession. You need to give concession to the private sector to share in that pipeline transportation fee. Unless you bring companies in as shareholders in that infrastructure, you won't unlock the arsenal of efficiency that the private sector always brings to business.
Gotcha. Let's move on. Great question. Let me get Stride Networks. Thanks, I appreciate that. Stride Networks, you got the floor.
Yeah, good evening. Usually I join today, so I don't get most of what you discussed.
It is recorded, sir. So if you wanted it, sir, on my page, the podcast is there. You can just do a playback. Yes.
Okay. All right. I listened attentively to some of the comments, and I just wanted to ask you two questions. My first question for you, I think, was you who said something about subsidizing NNPC, that is a pity. And the question is, are you aware that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia still subsidizes Aramco?
Yes, and I'm also aware in America there's also subsidies, but that's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that the Nigerian citizens are subsidizing NNPC. It should be the other way around.
Okay.
The government subsidizes Aramco. Aramco subsidizes the citizens of Saudi Arabia. When we pay expensive prices.
I guess. Okay. Let me just then to Mr. Kelvin. Don't you think there's a little bit of contradictions in one of your opinions? When somebody asks you about alternative import or some, I think it was importing PLS, and you said, whether does that can be, whatever is imported, definitely is going to be allocated or substandard fuel. Now, the question is this. There are different types of, which you actually enumerated different types of crude oil, not just the one like that we produce. And you said that Dangote can, Dangote could invest in Angola. And Angola produces almost the same quality of crude oil that we do, right? And when you look at the cost of production, producing a barrel of oil, crude oil in Angola, which is like between $30 to $40 per barrel, I think around that. And in Nigeria, $48 to $55 per barrel. So if an importer decides to import PMS made from Angola, produce Angola into the country, what would you say to that?
Okay, so first of all, I think you're going around it and you're asking direct questions. But let me say this. Okay. There was no contradiction in what I said. What I said was very clear. I said that there's a global framework for pricing gasoline, and the price of gasoline you get FOB depends on the quality of PMS you're offtaking. Only the 10 ppm is not the same thing with only the 50.
May I ask you where you're calling from?
Anything.
Gotcha. Kevin, if you can hear we lost you, so let me send him a DM as well. Okay, just type in there for him. Alright, just while he's getting his try just keep hanging there for him. Do you have any questions for me while he's coming back, or is also going to be for Kevin?
No, I just asked you 2 questions. Like I said, I learned briefly based on the comments.
Gotcha.
Discussing that, I appreciate that, and I prefer that you just ask those questions.
Yeah, let me see if he can come in. Just try that. I might put you on. Kevin, you back? I think let me see if I can take him off. I will take him off. Add him back in. I think, yeah, he's off, so it's off. He's going to come back in. So if anyone has any question that I'm not sure I can answer, it's a very technical area. I don't want to get involved in what I'm not really an expert in. But we're going to come back in. I've got Advocate, I've got Larry, Talk Tweet, Oxley, Sam, who else? Kenzie, and yep. So if we can't get Kevin in, then we'll still have him for now. But waiting on him to come back into the space. And so I see him here. I'm going to invite him to speak. Yeah, Kevin, you're back. Kelvin, you're back. Yes, I can hear you now. Go ahead. I'm not sure if you're going to take the question from the top again because we lost you midway. He had asked you about the. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So, sorry for that break. So, I said they can't bring in PMS, the same quality of PMS, as required by the market based on regulatory limit as we said. And as Dangote is currently offering the Nigerian markets and currently supplying to some stakeholders in the Nigerian markets, the PMS they will be bringing in will be substandard. That's what I said, and I stand by that. Because there is a global pricing system and it's very clear. If you compute the numbers at the current exchange rate, you cannot land run above 90 sulfur level below 50 ppm at less than this currently being offered in the market today in Nigeria based on the exchange rate that we have today. You can't. Okay? So it means that you're cheating the standards that have been set by a regulator, which calls us to the question of what is the role of the regulator and are they doing their work. On the question of Angola and the production costs in Angola compared to Nigeria, I'll give you one specific point I pointed out earlier. So beyond unit production cost per barrel, I said earlier that there is also the problem of in Nigeria, it's not just about you getting oil to the subsurface, it's about you getting oil from subsurface terminal. Okay? What is your recovery ratio? When companies are calculating, operators are calculating recovery ratio in Nigeria, in other parts of the world where people are normal and they are safe, the premium is getting oil to subsurface. In Nigeria, the premium is getting crude oil, not just subsurface, but terminal. What is the cost in Nigeria of getting the crude oil from subsurface, from wellhead to terminal? I'll put it at another 18 to 25%. So if you are an operator in Nigeria, you are losing anywhere between 18 and 25% for premium for getting crude oil from subsurface to terminal. Doesn't it make sense that if I'm saving maybe $10 in terms of unit production cost of oil, I should go to a normal place where people are normal, where as soon as I get to subsurface, I don't have a risk of theft from subsurface to terminal. Did you get my point? Which was the reason why I said earlier that personally, I think it makes better sense for him to invest, for Dangote to invest in E&P outside Nigeria than to invest upstream in Nigeria. It's my personal opinion, based on what I think
Yeah, I think it.
I finished.
Okay.
Okay. Now, okay. I want you to explain this a little bit further. Now, from subsurface to terminal, there's a cost. That's what you're talking about now.
I'm not talking about pipeline transportation costs. I'm talking about the additional risk premium of transporting crude oil gathering, aggregation, processing, and then transportation to terminal. You know the cost.
There's a cost involved.
It is not the official cost.
No, I'm not talking about whether official or unofficial. There's a cost.
Exactly. And this is the reason why I said.
Listen, that's what I said. There's a piece of contradiction. Now, in Angola that you mentioned, right? There's still the same subsurface to terminal costs.
No, sir.
Okay? And you explain
the Angola's upstream sector is a normal. That's why I said countries where things are normal. Okay? The upstream sector is normal.
Okay, let's say, wait. It's normal. Angola is normal, right? Now, it's cheaper for him to invest in Angola with more. That's the bottom line.
It's cheaper for him because he gets more value for his money.
Fine.
If you're bringing...
Wait. Let's understand ourselves. It is cheaper for him because that country, the oil industry, so to say, according to you, is normal. Right? It's cheaper for him to invest in the oil industry than to get it up there and get a feedstock from Angola. It's cheaper. Right? That's the bottom line. Now, I'm just saying, sorry?
I'm curious to know what the comparison is.
Okay. The contradiction is when you are now talking about that whoever imports fuel internationally will be cheap and will be substandard.
It's pretty much the same thing.
I'm looking at some importing.
Yeah, I think so. No, it can't be the same, sir. It can't be the same.
No, where did you get the payments from?
No, Mr. Stride, I'm so sorry. Mr. Stride, when he was talking of import, he was focused on the fact that current folks importing should test the PMS they import with what Dangote is making locally. So we see the quality of the two.
It might not be the same, of course, it might not be the same quality as Dangote.
But it's not true. Yeah, that's what, again, that's the second point.
What is the source of PMS?
No, it's false equivalence. It's false equivalence, and you know it.
That's semantics.
Right now, it's not. Let's not belabor this conversation.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. Fine. Let's
NNPC today is unable to supply Dangote with crude oil. What do you want him to do?
He has to import.
Who said you shouldn't import?
Exactly. So why are you importing importation of crude oil?
You guys can import from Dubai anywhere. No.
You're talking logically saying it's false equivalence.
You can import from anywhere.
So I think if I may say this, he has to import, but Nigeria does not need to import PMS because we already have a refinery in Nigeria. But the crude oil part, we can't get crude oil in Nigeria, so he has to import the crude oil.
He has to import. He can't import from anywhere. He's free to import. He's in business to make money. Whenever he feels he can import, let him import from there.
Well, not the PMS. We already have the PMS in Nigeria. We have a refinery. I'm talking about this. I'm saying, I'm just moving the question along.
Let's move on, please.
Okay, let's move on. Sam, who got you? Sam, go ahead. Sam?
Yeah, I'm here. Quick discussion. Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me, right?
Loud and clear. Where are you calling from, boss?
Yeah. Oh, I'm calling from here.
Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
about loading of trucks from the Port Harcourt refinery. But anyway, I did get a view through Twitter. That's fine. I wanted to get some clarification. My major worry about the Nigerian oil sector is metering. And in your explanation, you talked about metering from the wellhead. I think maybe perhaps you need another process. These fruit being produced actually live in wellhead and go to the flow station. So depending the aggregates, whether there's much water or gas, this separation is done from the flow station at a basic level. So I think from the flow station is where the metering has to start after removing the produced water from the combination. And it also depends if the producer is interested in that.
I don't agree with that, sorry. There are no best practices when it comes to it. I agree that there's metering at fuel station, at aggregation, where this kind of separation is done. I also think that there should be metering at wellhead, so that you know what is lost between wellhead and fuel station. If you're going to develop this kind of to fiscalize the entire supply chain, you should be able to see from your source. Your first point of call is your wellhead. That's the first point of call. You're metering at your wellhead. You can lease those meters. Yeah? And bring those companies in on a sharing formula per barrel. Give them a commission per barrel. You don't need to buy those meters. You can. But your wellhead, which is your first point of call as subsurface, you need to get an accurate estimate about the amount of water, the amount of gas, and the amount of oil that comes out to that.
Okay, let me make it clear to you that metering in the oil metering of fluid is actually an estimate proportion because they are void, because they are gas, because they are water. You cannot really get accurate representation. So it doesn't
estimate.
Yeah, so let's go there. Yeah, let's go because this is what I did. So most cases you aggregate this wellhead into a flow station because you want to remove that produced water. It's a waste. You don't care about it. You really want to know how many is your heavy end, which is your crude oil, and how many lightest end, which is your gas. But it also depends on the producer. If he's interested in the gas, they might find a way of combining those gas. But most cases, especially those onshore, they are not interested in the gas, so they end up selling the gas at that point. That's why when you go to Obiko, you go to Imo River, you go to what they call Orobo, you see gas being fed because they are not interested in that. It might not be of a commercial quantity for them to convey, except the government has to step in. Let's go to the heavy end, which is the crude oil. If this crude oil is going to be transported or metered from the flow station, still has water and gas, but to a very, very low minimum quantity. So my question is, the biggest problem, I will tell you what I think, then you can tell me what you think, I may be wrong or not. The biggest problem, as we explained earlier, is conveying these products from this flow station into the terminal or refinery in the case maybe. That transportation, our pipeline system, are they properly accounted for? There are a lot of flow stations, there are a lot of pipeline reaching all Nigeria data today, who perhaps has destination, but they are not being used. Some of them have been decommissioned. Some of them have been periodically used. By the end of the day, we have this pipeline networking everywhere. Go to Afisere, go to anywhere in a auto channel. You see all these pipelines.
Okay, but Sam, just for the last one to speak, can I just have you maybe sort of summarize so that Kevin can answer them, kind of get our guys in, just if you don't mind. I appreciate that too.
Okay,
saw some apply cement to blow earth, apply cement to close some out, or dig some of them out, and have just few pipeline that we can account for. And we can be able to track those pipelines. That's one of my questions. The second question is, there is this overemphasis on offshore. The truth is that even if oil will just come to Nigeria today, we are not going to triple or double our production because of the current security challenge or the environmental challenge in this region. They prefer to go to a veggie country like Guyana, whose eyes are not open yet, so that they can inflate their campus, and during the open side, they can make up their money. So if you are able to get country, that's why they Nigeria. He also left Canada. Oil sand. So they know what they are doing. So I don't think also just back on them.
You spoke about what I said earlier about napkins and yams and inflation of capex, and how it is the responsibility of NIAMS to ensure that capex meets the computation for the calculation of EPC for development of fields is according to industry average. I think you were here when I said it. You're perfectly spot on. Let me take you back to the deal between ExxonMobil and Seplat. Because we're on a recorded call, I don't know who is on this call. I will not mention exact figures because I don't know where it's going to get to. One of the companies, the publicly quoted companies, I don't want them in trouble. The decommissioning, remediation, and abandonment costs pre and post divestment was in billions, double digits. Okay? And when you consider like 583 wells involved, the decommissioning also included the pipes, the pipeline infrastructure. So I agree with you perfectly. A lot of those pipes should be decommissioned. There should be new investments in building new pipes. Okay? Because a lot of those pipes are out of service, some of them are vandalized. So, some people just imagine in specific locations. The pipes are part of the reasons why the amount of crude that goes from fuel station and arrives on the outside doesn't match. Okay? There's a lot of vandalism at play. But there needs to be, there was some, I think yes, he had a very strategic question or comment around fresh thinking in terms of financing for infrastructure, midstream infrastructure. And I thought that was a consequential question because, see, if you don't rethink the financing structure for bringing in investments into multi-product pipelines in Nigeria, you're going to keep encountering these issues. Are you with me? So we need to rethink the financing structure. Maybe, like I said, NNPC needs to let go of that stranglehold of multi-product pipes to be the owners of it. But they also be the owners of it. Nobody is going to share with us to allow some of the operators and companies to go on or to lease or to concession, bring in financing, manage all the security layers and infrastructure, develop a national grid system. In section 69 of the PI talks about the obligation of the Surveyor General to develop a national grid system for the oil and gas sector. That grid system is like a geographical information system, like a map. When you have a map and you see everybody's allocation on the map, you can use that map to develop a SCADA. Yeah? And from that SCADA, you can fiscalize the entire supply chain. When you fiscalize it, you can bring in investors and say, let's concession our pipeline infrastructure for 20 years or 30 years. They bring in financing, they share in your pipeline transportation fee, and introduce new thinking into securing that infrastructure. It will work better. But if we're not addressing this issue, so I don't want to come at them
it will always be a sticking point for them to continue to bring money to Nigeria. So far, you've not provided that incentive as compared to other parts of the world.
Well, I think it's we can continue for a long time, but I think we've learned a lot from the question and the answer by Sam and Kelly. So thanks, folks. Let me get Oxley. Oxley, go ahead. Oxley?
Okay, yes, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
I'm here today.
Oh, yeah, Oxley, where are you calling from, please?
From Canada.
Please go ahead, sir.
Alright, so, thank you for telling me your insights on the experiences on this quite amazing. So I just want to ask, with the minimum of NNPC today, with the minimum of inefficiency, right? Assuming we know the quantified valuation of NNPC as we speak, and it will happen as a country, Nigeria, to happen to put NNPC for sale, can we get by? So either we are putting the whole pyramid for sale, or we have factorized it, just break it down, pieces into maybe 10 companies. Downstream, which is what I call one today, the modified one, and another partition of it. Can we find a buyer for NNPC? So, answer the question based on the historic index, how terrible their approach is as of today. Can we find a buyer? That's number one. Number two, I hear you about when you call someone in Texas and talking about that Nigeria doesn't have a water flow meter. Now, that's infrastructure. Is it like because it's in existence or it's not inadequate, right? Now, not having a water because for me, I think we're not practicing oil and gas. We're not in isolation in Nigeria. These are something that even the regulators and the practitioners know should be in place. Do you think there's a conspiracy for us not having some of those things? Is there a conspiracy? Do you think that the IOCs are complicit? That a country like Nigeria, these IOCs, they operate in other places, they operate in the US, they operate in so many other parts of the world. They know that this thing should be. And our Nigerian counterpart know that this where flow meter should be, whether at the wellhead or at the flow station. So if we don't have it, or what we have is inadequate, do you think that our some of the mechanism and the oil pumping that is happening in Nigeria, do you think that there is a complicity of the IOC?
All right, let's keep the question short. We've got about 5 minutes to go. Can you go ahead?
To answer his question, I'm not going to say what is complicity from IOCs. I cannot verify that. I don't know.
Let's talk about this. I don't think we should talk about IOCs. Talk about Nigeria.
Do you have a government? It's a responsibility of the government to enforce the law and the standards that have been set. So if it's not working, it's because the government is not enforcing the law. The PIA is very clear. There's industry benchmark and standards for how things operate internationally. Yeah, so if in other parts of the world there's fiscalization, there's data that helps you to fiscalize the entire supply chain, why are you not applying it in your own markets? Why are you doing manual accounting? You don't have hydrocarbon accounting because you don't have fiscalization. And the reason why you don't have fiscalization is because you don't have a mapping system that you can plug into the scanner. Why? There's no hydrocarbon accounting. The oil and gas sector in Nigeria today, everything is done manually and it's opaque. So it's not about you pointing fingers. It's about you coming back to your government. Why hasn't the government enforced the rule and say, this is how we're going to play this match? I am the referee as a government. And these are the rules that every player must live by. When two teams in the Premier League are playing, or Champions League are playing each other, you don't go around pointing fingers to the players or the club owners. You look at the referee. There is a standard that has been set for the game. Every player
referee in this question is the Nigerian government. Is the Nigerian government enforcing the rules of the game on the pitch for all the players? So if the match is not going the way it should go in a free and fair way, then there's a problem with the referee on the field.
Okay. Well said. Let's say last two guys. Last two folks. Possibly.
You can't get bias. You can't get bias without telling them the actual position of the balance sheet. If you don't tell them the actual position of the balance sheet, they are blind. They won't take it seriously.
Oh.
You can't even unbundle an NNPC and start discovery process for an IPO if you don't do like an audit to see the actual position of your balance sheet.
Gotcha. Well said. Kevin, last two folks to speak because we're after the 3 hours. It will be LPG Nigeria. Okay, that's AG or John. Okay, that's spelled correctly. So let's get LPG Nigeria to ask a question, and then AJ to just take us close to the session out. LPG, please go ahead. LPG going once, LPG going twice. I guess AJ Ojonugwa. Did I get that right? Did I spell that right? AJ Ojonugwa. AJ going once, AJ going twice.
Can you hear me? Sorry. Hello.
Yeah, LPG, please go ahead.
Oh, thank you very much. Very interesting conversation. Okay, I wanted to ask, can NNPC or Harcourt, can they produce LPG? That's my question.
Okay, good. Well, the you.
No, they can't.
Okay, so it's not that they are not at the moment producing it. They are not, because I remember hearing, listening to you, and you mentioned the configuration, the structure, the way it was built. It was built for LPFO and a certain product. So that's the reason, right?
Yes, they can't produce the C3H10, especially C3H8, because refinery gases are higher distillates, and it typically happens when you get to the tertiary stage of refining. So if you don't have a catalytic reformer for the refinery that is a glorified modular refinery, you can't produce refinery gases. You can't get LPG. So if NNPC says they can, then they should show us where people are listing it.
Okay. Just to also add that I read also Exxon pulled out from the Guyana conversation. Maybe you can check that out. And also to add to that conversation of PMS pricing with the other gentleman, just wanted to add that there are various specifications for products, just like LPG. LPG prices varies depending on the spec. So the fact that somebody is bringing PMS does not mean it's the same specification. So I heard this argument, but it seems not to understand that PMS varies the specification, and that affects pricing. Just want to add that. Thank you.
All right, thanks for that. Kevin, again, thank you so much for this session. Just giving us the technical side of it. This is a very, very technical issue, and I think you've done wonders to tell you from NNPC to Dangote to gas. Also, questions have been very, very enlightening. I want to say thank you for joining us today, and we have been richly blessed, and we know more about the sector by you being here, and we thank you for that.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you so much for the privilege. And I also want to say that you're doing very great work.
Thank you, sir.
Passion is remarkable. Educating everyone, not just Nigerians, but everyone internationally who wants to know about the economy in Nigeria, and everybody who has tuned in tonight to listen to this session. Very interesting conversation. It's a conversation really, the people are asking questions and commenting and clarifying, and correcting, and it's an interesting conversation. And particularly for IP and TS, I really like the technical questions. Like